1, 3, 3, 7. Hello and welcome to Nerds and Words, probably episode 42. I get to be your host today, the man who hates having any of his clips uploaded to YouTube, Tim Allen 1337, and joined as always by the person whose tier list will make you a raging alcoholic in no time flat, Potion Shop TV.
Hey, my tier list is actually the best. Don't listen to them.
And the man who would live in so much more luxury if he didn't buy so much guacamole, Moreland TV.
No, I'm hungry.
Is that a balloon up in the corner there?
Oh yeah, it was Pixie's birthday last week.
Oh, happy late birthday, Pixie!
All over the place.
Did she come back after storming out from last week's podcast?
Did she storm out? Did you storm out last week? She just looks so confused.
Oh, I don't have. Well, we got a great podcast lined up here. I'm sure of it. But as we normally start out, let's break the ice a little bit with talk about each other's weeks. And I'm going to go first because I never get to go first with this. I am feeling substantially better. I can breathe a little better. I'm not congested and blowing my nose. I have no tissues anywhere near me because I don't need them. And life is good. It's going to be a long time before I get to work out or anything again. But, say lovey. I've played an insane amount of Star Wars Galaxies this week. I've been very happy about that. I finally felt good enough to get back to Node Wars, and I went to probably one of the worst Node Wars Noel's had in a long time. So that was pretty frustrating.
Oh, yeah, oh, God. Okay, yeah, keep going.
it was pretty rough. Oh, did my tag break? Uh-oh. Oh, this is my witch. That's why. But I finished in 7 days. I grinded 60 hours worth of Star Wars Galaxies to finish out my Jedi stuff. I've gotten a ton of PvP. So much drama has been created, and I've been hanging out with one faction this whole time. And today I decided that I'm actually going to join the other faction, so it's going to create even more drama. So I've had a really fun week. I'm looking forward to the T1 thing this week, today, and I'm actually going to go as Suck Wizard, which I know everybody's talking about the global Labs patch notes on that. So I'm excited to talk about that with you guys too. But overall, I had a pretty good week. Lots of Star Wars. I'm really enjoying that. We're having some really fun streams over there with that. So, Marlon, how was your week, buddy?
Pretty good. I was pretty much ready to quit BDO after that war that we had a couple days ago.
Yeah.
But luckily some of the things that bothered me about that war are actually being directly addressed in the Global Lab patch that came out the next day. So that was kind of a godsend. I started playing a lot more Awakened Sage, did some PvP, went to Star's End, got into a fight with the sweaty Hashashin for a while. That was fun. I might tag the Sage, but it's very expensive. We'll see what happens.
I didn't see anything in the global patch notes about D-Mike.
Well, that's going to take some more work to fix, yeah.
An inside joke, Potion. You'd have to be in a guild to know.
Oh, yeah. I had those things. Guilds? What are those?
And people, relationships, I know.
The whole game of it's confusing to me.
Just do you, boo. Just do you. What's up with you, Potion? How was your week? It looks like you're back to quite a bit of BDO this week.
Yep, I'm feeling good. We've been doing about 8-hour streams every week. I feel like I'm regular again. Started doing Baragi Din, and that is one of the new Elvia Hadum grind spots. So been trying out that and figuring out what the income is. I think we want to do 1 million trash loot. I figured out Kerr was also doing that. He's doing it for other grind spots, so maybe I can get together with him and get some stats on all of this stuff.
Kerr's a real gamer. He was doing 2 million trash. You're thinking of Norelio.
Oh, well, I guess I'll have to up it to 2 million then. That's fine. I'll do that too.
I would do 2.2 million and one if I was Potion Shop.
No, I'm not gonna out one up him. That's not what I want. I'm not.
Literally
that's way too competitive. But no, I've been grinding a little bit anyway. Been enjoying learning out. Like they have these 3 different weapons in Hadum Elvia. They have Narc, Voltara, and I don't know what the other one is, Obsidian or something. And they make you stronger. And I've been first time I got my hands on one of those, I was like, this this is what BDO needed. Like this makes it feel fresh and rewarding to like go at a grind spot. Feels random a little bit. Like that's such a fresh feeling in BDO. I thoroughly love it. The big surprise to me though was actually the EXP. The EXP is very similar to Miramach Ruins. I'm curious to do a test here for 62 with like some gear and see how it compares to Miramach Ruins with EXP scrolls and everything.
I saw you playing and working on Sage, and you were at I think you were doing, what are those fuckers called over there? Baragi Den? Was it Baragi Den you were doing?
Yeah.
I was so proud of you, man. I'm like, look at this guy. He's playing the new class, getting better at Awakened Sage, and he's at the new grind spot, probably enjoying himself. But I couldn't tell because somebody was yelling at you about your tier list, and you were very angry.
I banned Hidun this week for like getting on to me. So
Hedon?
Yeah, however you say his name. Anyway, he got banned in my chat this week. That was the news for me.
He's like the nicest BDO streamer in the directory.
He came in the middle of a conversation and then interrupted and wanted to interject his opinion. And I was like, all right, I just can't. I'm already arguing with some dude. I cannot handle this. So he just got banned on the spot. I feel almost bad for it, but you know, I'll probably unban him a couple days. He's not like a bad guy.
We'll see him in Christmas, dude. We'll see him at Christmas.
Unban him for Christmas.
I don't know. That sounds way more egregious than what Junior did. Just saying my opinion, if you care or asked.
That's another week.
Has it occurred to you that I don't actually want him to get unbanned?
Oh, I'm totally fine with that.
We're all fine with that.
I actually, before we get into it, I was thinking about your tier list today. I was wondering if maybe, and yeah, I mean, do your own thing, right? But I think like what makes it unrelatable or hard to understand for me is, what if you did something like, you play a shitload of BDO anyway? What if you just watched a quick video on like each of these classes that you're interested in playing, and like after you do some Miramach Ruins, because Miramach Ruins really isn't relatable to anybody, right? Like nobody cares if you can kill one of those little, you know, ads in one shot or something like that, even though you can kind of gauge it based off of that. What if you just recorded your trash per hour for like 5 to 10 hours minimum per class and spec, and like averaged it together and slapped it at the bottom of each one of those classes pictures? Because Star's End is like super relatable. And so you'd be able to kind of see where the trash per hour from the same person with the same amount of skill who's jumping around to all these classes, kind of brand new. I think it'd be a good way to really be able to see what you could actually get, instead of just like, my chat plays a lot of this and, you know, it kind of feels like that. You might be able to get some like empirical evidence on it and, you know, put something out there visually.
Yeah, I do think that it needs better verification than what I have put into it. I think that's for sure. I kind of just want to get to the point where I have every class with skill points on it and levels so that I can actually play it. Because right now, I only have half the classes at 62, and then the other half I haven't even played, like, literally at all. And so I kind of want to get to the point where I have all classes to that point so I can more accurately judge. Because right now, like, for example, I played Kuno Awakening, and within like 15 minutes of playing it, I easily knew that it wasn't as low as I'd put on the tier list. And it's the type of thing that like I want to be able to do with any class and pick it up, because there might be like right now Mystic Succession, I have no idea where it's at in like the whole scheme of like in PvE, and so I want to be able to like make a better assessment of that before I go and put the long grind in. I think that is a good point to do long term, but I feel like I need to grow in the other areas where I don't have any knowledge at all first, or I need to team up with someone else who has better knowledge or where I'm lacking and work with them.
It's such a, like, it seems like such an easy thing to do. And the more I keep like doing podcasts and talking to you and like checking in on your chat, it's actually like a huge thing to undertake. Because like a PvP tier list is pretty easy to make because you're fighting against these other classes. And over time, you just get a really decent understanding of kind of where they fit into the meta and stuff. You don't have to have like this personal experience with it. You just have to have PvP experience. You can't really just like watch a Guardian grind over there and go, holy shit. You know, you have to actually take the time to do it. So, you know, I think you talk about being bored in this game pretty often and stuff, or, you know, you're like running scrolls back and forth for no reason to kill time. I think it'd be cool if you took the time to get the skill points on each one of those classes, since you're getting all of them to 62 anyway, and just like see where, because like a Waking Kuno's trash per hour is going to be like so substantially less than, something else. And I think that'll be some pretty interesting empirical data that you could discuss with the entire community.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely something I want to do and work towards. It'll take some time. I'm actually curious about your Node War issues that you had and like how that went, because like hearing about your week and both you guys mentioned Node Wars, but I don't really understand the context of like what was so bad about
it. Dad wasn't home and the kids tried to take over.
So many things were wrong with that war.
And Sage. There was a lot of Sage issues.
Mostly Sage and Nova and D-Mike. The whole guild was just like refusing to do anything coordinated. We tried to do one of those for fun, relaxed Node Wars, which just ended up in like, everybody running around ignoring orders and playing like shit.
I woke up my kid by slamming my desk. I was so fucking frustrated by the end of it.
So you guys mentioned that,
and then every single. Well, apparently the new T1 meta, at least for Guilty, is just every single person in their guild rerolled the Succession Sage. And so, like, the only thing more frustrating about having a group of 25 players who aren't coordinating is trying to deal with another group of 20 fucking invisible iframing AoEing cunts that you can't possibly catch while no one is being coordinated. And so, yeah, I just, like, I'm pretty sure I grinded, like, half an inch off of each one of my teeth.
That does not sound fun. What was the just out of curiosity, what's the big thing that's making Sage? You said invisibility. Like, what's making it so powerful in like in Node Wars?
Yeah, it's just so the iframe was supposed to be fixed this week, so that when they come out of it, they have super armor. But then if they spam it and they come out of it, they're supposed to not have super armor. But it seems like they kind of do, either that or it's just desync. I don't know what it is, but the class, you can't fucking catch the class. The only way to catch them is for them to run out of stamina. Like, they just iframe forever. And you can run them out of stamina when they're playing like that, but not in a large scale fight where there's a bunch of other things happening. Like, you can't chase one Sage down for 30, 45 seconds every time you need to kill him. Like, there's just not time to do that. And other people are going to show up and, like grab you in the meantime. So it's sort of the same issue that you have like fighting, all these like cockroach Sorks, except, Sork doesn't have the ability to pop as many like giant CCing AoEs when they come out of their iframe as Sage does. And I don't know, I feel like the Sork iframe is a little more predictable as far as like you can keep track of where they are and they're not invisible the entire time.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing is we only had two wizards. So, and I don't think we called PA anyway, so I'm not really sure that is a huge issue. But, I was trying to grab these Sages the whole time, and it's so frustrating because they're these big, lumbering, larger than Guardian classes. And they stand there, and then I get my halberd and I go to stab them. And then by the time I'm stabbing them, they iframe, they're gone. Even though my fucking thing is inside of them. And so and then you're like, where the fuck are they? You try to push, and then you're getting like, time warp fucking spells casted at your back because there's no way to track where they're actually going from that.
Oh, yeah.
So it was pretty frustrating to deal with. When there's one or two or something, it's fine, but in mass, it's difficult to deal with.
I guess it makes sense because like from a 1v1 perspective, it makes sense, but from a like a 2v2 or like a group scale, then it gets like out of control.
Yeah, I didn't really struggle against the class in 1v1, like in Battle Arena, when people were learning their Sages. It's like, okay, he's iframing. I kind of have a rough idea of where he's going to pop out. Like, I'm his objective. He's going to pop out over here. I'll charge them. I'll grab him. It didn't feel that bad. But in large scale, when there's so many other things happening and so many other opponents in different directions that you have to focus on, like there was one point where I was 1v2ing two Succession Sages off to the side, and it was like, what the fuck is my win condition here? Even if I do get a grab on one of them, the other one's just going to pop out of invisibility and drop his fucking cube on me in the middle of my combo. Like, I can't keep track of both of them. I can't CC both. There's no chance that I will catch both of them in the same CC. And yeah, just for like those cockroachy fights, especially with the T1 HP mechanic, where the second half of the war, everyone has half HP. It's like the ultimate cockroach class for low HP, chaotic, spread out Valencia fucking get stuck in rock fights.
Yeah, I always thought it was strange that it was invisible for other players. It would be so much more easy if you could actually read where they're coming from. But the invisibility just adds a whole extra layer of complexity, which I don't feel like is needed for the class at this time.
I've been trying to get my hands on one of those. Not that I'm some god PvPer in this game or something, but I do some of the basics pretty well. And I've been trying to get my hands on one of those like eye tracker things, so you can actually see how often I'm staring at the fucking mini map. And so I know somebody in my chat just brought this up. You can track them right on the mini map, but still just trying to like use the mini map to track what's going on in small scale and stuff like that. It's you can get a good idea of where you're supposed to look or if somebody's behind you or something like that. But again, it's fine when there's one or two succession stages, but once you get into even more of those, and then 25 bans, every life really fucking matters. You lose 3 or 4 people, that's 20% of your ball or something. So it was a rough night, but that's there's a lot of stuff that's happening, and I think I'm gonna getting 2500 HP on a Guardian is just not something I ever really want to experience again. So I'm actually gonna give Succession Wizard a try tonight. I've been working on it a little bit, so
Sounds good.
Succession Wizard, about time.
Yeah, I'm just worried about not having a Q or S block.
Just split teleport out of every dangerous situation, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that goes for you. Are you, even after the nerfs, you think it's still going to be super dominant?
Yeah, so I kind of want to go last on the nerf conversation. If do we want to just dive into that and then we'll get into the structure part of it, because that's the hot topic, right?
Yeah, I feel like I think a lot of people want to know like what we think about the global lab changes, because even though Sage Awakening got a lot of changes this week, I think the bigger topic is really global labs potential changes. Do you want to go into buffs and nerfs, or do you want to go into global lab as a whole?
I think we just talk about Suck Wizard stuff real quick, and then we can go into the whole thing.
Okay. I'm not like a PvPer. The main thing that they removed was like some super armors, which I'm a big fan of because I think there's way too many in the game anyway. And I don't really have an opinion on it past there because I'm not really the one that experiences a lot of getting one shot. So that's about it for me as far as Succession Wizard. I hope that they continue this trend of removing super armors from strong classes. Maybe Mystic Succession will get one next.
Mystic Succession got some massive buffs this week. I don't think that's coming anytime soon. But yeah, I don't think the devs are actually trying to remove super armors like in general. I think this was specifically their response to the overwhelming feedback they've been getting for literally years about the dominance of staff classes. I don't expect to see like a cascading effect from here where they start removing super armors from classes in general. I think this was a very specific targeted thing against Witch and Wiz, and I honestly don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. It's the beginning. It's a nerf of one aspect of Witch and Wiz, but there's still 5 other ways. Hold on one second.
Is it happening?
Sorry, I just had an alert pop up that was distracting me. But yeah, I don't think it's going to reduce the prevalence of Witch and Wiz. There might be like 1 or 2 people who rage out and reroll, but for the most part, losing a couple super armors is not going to completely address the problem of why those classes are overwhelmingly dominant and large scale.
So for me, the funniest thing is, and I checked with somebody who plays Suckwiz pretty often, because I thought this was the case, that the other meteor, the unprotected meteor, hits like a fucking dump truck. So if you thought meteor was a problem before, now they're kind of really incentivizing people going to that other meteor that they have, because you choose between 2 skills in almost every aspect of Suckwiz. And there's an unprotected, just absolute nuclear bomb of a meteor that you can cast while you're on a mount. So probably going to be moving over to that and taking away the evasion debuff on Voltaic is probably a little bit of a kind of a let's not just make this a DR meta kind of thing.
Wait,
because
did they take away the evasion debuff?
yeah, it's supposed to be no, they cut it in half, I believe, is what I read.
Oh, I thought they lowered the accuracy mod on the attack.
Oh, was it accuracy mod? I'm sorry. Was it accuracy mod?
I mean, it's all translated, so I could be wrong, but I believe they lowered the hit rate on the skill from 30 to 12. I don't think they changed the debuff.
Right, you're right.
Which is still pretty big. Like a 30. I didn't realize it had a 30% accuracy mod. That's fucking crazy. No other classes get accuracy mods like that on their main damage abilities.
Which wizard's always been like that though. Even pre-awaken had like that was if you didn't have any accuracy, which was the class for you. So that's kind of whatever to me, because like Frigid Fog is the killer, right? That is what pops people. I don't know how much people really realize that. So Voltaic, I mean, you get like this instant cast teleport. All of a sudden, you're just being Voltaic. I don't know how many times it comes up where it's like people are like, God, I really would have caught that suck whiz if Voltaic didn't have super armor. Maybe if Frigid Fog didn't have super armor and all that damage, possibly. But I really think I know the follow-up does a fuckload of damage. So I don't know. You just don't run into the very front of a ball when you Voltaic and you'll probably be okay kind of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I really don't think these are nerfs like at all.
I think it's a nerf to kind of the brain dead double teleport Voltaic thing. But if you actually think about your positioning and what skills you're using and use it at the right time, it's probably not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to make a bigger deal about it just because there was so much crying about it. But the way it sounds like this is just a nerf.
Is there a lot of crying about? I keep hearing people crying about the crying, but who's actually crying about this change? Like, who's unironically saying that this is a bad change? Anyone?
Well, I think the Wizards are crying about it, right? But I mean, I think the average player base agrees.
I think even the Wizards can acknowledge that this was needed. Like, from what I've seen, everyone pretty much around the board is like, yeah, fair play. Because I mean, even if you're playing a suck whiz, you're fighting other suck whizzes. So
since you asked, Jackie Felix is definitely crying. If you ask for names, it's Jackie Felix. That's the man who's crying.
Is he actually crying? People keep saying that. I think that even Jackie knows that, like, his class can be taken down a notch or two.
He's balder than you, man.
I will say that.
I don't know. Show me the clips. I don't believe it.
Do you really think it's not going to take Wizard down like a huge peg? Like, do you not think that it's going to give the opportunity for like these, DKs to get in there and get a kill, or Sorks or Mooses or anything?
So I'm playing my Suckwiz right now, and I'm hitting Speed Spell, which is an AoE buff. I'm hitting Mana Shield, which gives me a ton of tankiness. I'm hitting another Run Speed buff. And then I've got this huge long range cast that blows people up basically outside of render distance. I've got all this very safe super armor damage with my lightning skills that are also slowing them. And then I still have 2 teleports that I can use separately and blow people up, get back out. And I've got 2 escapes on top of that. I've got so much in my kit. The only thing I'm really missing is like an active block. That's it. So, I mean, it brings you, and then I have Rabam heal. And then I have another heal on top of that. And then I have another heal on top of that, a single target heal. So the amount of overall skill cap and utility that I bring to even a small PvP fight so outdoes anything a DK could possibly ever do in a fight. Oh, and PA. Yeah, correct. Which also works in T1s now, which is insane.
Well, it's a step in the right direction. which I guess is better than nothing.
I don't know. I don't know if it is. I mean, that's kind of my point, is people are just going to be like, well, now everyone's using the better meteor because there's no protection on the other one anyway. So that whole thing doesn't even make sense. So you'll just have other people going in CC first, and then you'll die to meteors.
I'm trying to be optimistic about this and say it's a step in the right direction, but in reality, I don't know if it's a step. It's probably just all they're going to do. And now, the people are just going to be like, oh, Wiz got nerfed. Stop complaining. Like, at least from the devs' perspective, I don't know if
You think
It's clear that they don't realize how big of a problem this is. Like, even when you read their description on why it took so long for Witch and Wiz to be nerfed, they literally don't understand that it's overpowered. Like, they said something along the lines of, yeah, we knew that Witch and Wizard were overpowered in Siege, but because they were only a little bit overpowered in Red Battlefield, we didn't want to nerf them.
What a crazy thing to even think that they're trying to bounce the game around Red Battlefield.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what do you mean? Like, they didn't even say like the classes were weak in other areas. They said the class was only above average in other areas, and therefore they didn't want to nerf it. And it's like, okay, well, like, who the fuck cares about RBF? And even if we do care about RBF, the people who are participating in RBF are not the people who are participating in Siege. You have a barrier to entry in Siege that doesn't exist in RBF. Anyone can go put Oasis weapons on a Suck Wiz and jump into RBF because they know it's the meta class and they want to try it out and tank that class's KDA. Of course that's going to happen if it's the most popular spec. There's going to be just all sorts of people pepegaing around on it and tanking the KDA. It's not going to have sky-high stats. But even with all those people tanking the KDA of the class in RBF, it's still, quote, only above average. It's like, they've got to find a better way to balance these classes. Just simply look at the top guilds and look at what their class compositions are and take a hint.
I mean, it's even in T1s, right? Like, the biggest reason we had a problem with Stray was the amount of staffs that were coming in Voltaic in the back of our ball, or as we push forward. Not the only reason. I'm not trying to be toxic or get into that, but it was one of the large contributing factors of that entire. So, I mean, I've been trying to fight. I always try to fight like the big meta thing all the time. But I just don't think grabbing SA from Voltaic. I'd rather SA been taken away from Frigid, to maybe allow some counterplay. So you really have to think, right? So you're going to start with Voltaic to get that bound super armor. You're always going to start with Voltaic, even without the super armor. But then you'd have to think, all right, do I go to a frontal guard, or maybe I just don't Frigid because I didn't catch enough people and I teleport back out? I think that would have been a more interesting change.
So I guess for like TLDR on this, or people who don't know Wizard and Witch and all the abilities and everything, like, what do you think the future is for Witch and Wizard in the meta? Do you think it's just still going to dominate, right? Is that
okay? So that's fair. So hold on, let me restate that. So when a Witch Wizard dives in, they come in and they cast 2 spells really quickly. It's Voltaic and then Frigid. They're both super armors and they both CC. So they come in and then they just kind of spread their arms twice, right? They do one of those, and then they do a super armor earthquake right after that. So it's super armor, super armor, super armor, and then by that time their second teleports back up and they're out. So that's like the base combo. I think it'd be more interesting if they took the second super armor out of that equation instead of the first, to introduce some counterplay and maybe make these brain dead wizards think a little bit. That's why I don't think the lack of Voltaic SA is really that big of a deal, because they're still going to pop out of nowhere and CCU, do the regular combo, get out, and their meteor is going to hit harder. So anybody who's upset or excited about these changes, maybe it'll play out differently in live, but I don't see it. I'm sorry. So go ahead.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So we were talking about the global lab changes for people who are like just watching now, but I was curious also about like what other classes got nerfs that are like you guys think are going to be impactful in Node Wars and PvP, because this update seems to primarily be PvP oriented with some minor PvE stuff mixed in.
There's 2 huge nerfs that are going to be the most impactful as far as I can tell. The first one is Nova's vacuum. Got very, very nerfed. From a few clips that I've seen, it looks like it's much easier to get out of now. The dev notes say that the longer the vacuum's down, the less powerful it becomes. So, like, if you get caught by it right away, then it'll be strong. But if you just wander up to it after it's been sitting there for a few seconds, it'll probably be easier to get out of. That ability was just absolutely making wars so much fucking less fun. There's nothing less enjoyable in this game than having an unresistible CC that doesn't count towards the CC counter, that you can't get out of or react to in any way, that just locks your character in place with no counterplay. It's really, really dumb. Super glad that that's nerfed. That was the other thing that was really fucking frustrating me in that last fight. And we use it too. Nolan uses this as well because it's just so strong. But like everywhere you go, you're just constantly losing control of your character, and you can't resist it. There's no timer on it. There's no CC cap associated with it. It's just completely dumb, and I'm very, very glad they're nerfing it.
That seems like a good change because you can put like 2 or 3 of those things out, can't you?
You can basically just lock someone down forever. You just keep them in one spot with those vacuums, and they just never can ever escape unless they have, I don't know, maybe Guardian can like Phoenix dive out of it or something, but I can't do shit when I get hit with one of those. I'll be fully instant excelling on my T9, and I'll get caught in one of those, and I can't move out of it.
Wait, you can catch horses?
Yep.
What? Okay, that's... I kind of like the strategy side of catching a horse. I kind of like the strategy side of that, but that is kind of like...
I mean, there's no strategy. Like I'm out in the Valencian mountains holding the F key down, moving 1,000,000 miles per hour, and I get caught by the vacuum before it even renders on my screen. Like I just lose the ability to move, and I can't even like play around it or anticipate it. It's just awful.
They did some Valk nerfs too, right?
Oh, is that the other one?
Yeah, they nerfed Suck Valk pretty guard. Suck Valk had this permanent accuracy buff that they could keep up 100% of the time. It's now a 10-second buff with a 40-second cooldown. So that's a huge nerf. Suck Valks actually have to build accuracy now to some degree. But yeah, there were some other Suck Valk nerfs as well. Shield Throw will only catch people at the beginning of the skill, so you can't just hold it there and stun people during the whole animation apparently anymore. Yeah, there was some other stuff as well, but Suck Valk got hit pretty hard. I think probably hardest out of any class.
Did you see the clip of Run rat fucking somebody in the 1v1 tournament with coming out of V and then just grabbing somebody? Were other people doing that? I only saw a clip of him doing
there was a ton of clips of people doing that in the tournament. I think at least 3 or 4 different matches were determined by people V-bugging.
Oh, God. I noticed some stuff on Striker got buffs, which is probably the 10th time in a row that they have been buffed without being nerfed. The distance of flow Nimbus strike. So when they jump up in the air and then they go diagonal, the distance of that has been increased. And then Martial Spirits can now cast from certain pre-awakened, a lot of pre-awakened skills and some prime skills.
It seems like I don't understand. Why would they buff Striker?
Well, it gets better, Potion. The #1 PvE class now has an all attack power increase plus 20 for 30 seconds to prime unleashing potential. So they're giving it more AP. And then they're increasing some of the speed between a couple of the skills.
Do you think this is because they're bouncing around Node Wars instead of only ones, and they see it underperforming in Node Wars, and they want to buff it that way? Like, where do you think this is coming from?
I think whoever's been in their ear for the past, ever since they had those, what they said they were going to hire or bring in a bunch of people from KR to talk to KR players to talk to them about the classes. Ever since that's happened, Striker has turned into a complete ridiculous, just no downside class. It just keeps getting better and better and better and better and better and better and better.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems very questionable to me. There was a few others that were like that, right? Where they got buffs, but they are already in a good spot, right?
They're trying to make Succession more aggressive. This is all translated. So also the all evasion rate on Awakening has been increased 15% for 30 seconds on the Descent of Fury skill. So that's cool. They get more evasion too. They're already like, dude, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Or like Strikers playing really that fucking bad that they just need the biggest wheelchair in fucking BDO history.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to me, at least in respect of like just general PvP, because Striker tends to dominate the small scale side of things, but maybe the large scale side of things is maybe where it's at, because I don't know how they perform large scale.
Not great, but they still have their place.
When did that change? Because I remember back when I was sieging, Awakened Striker was one of the top classes. You would just fucking double dash in and alt and just clear out a whole castle full of people. Like it was an incredible zoning ability.
Higher APs. that was true in like the 261 to 269 realm. Like still even a trial AP striker is really strong. And so that's where their sweet spot was, where you drop a leg on somebody with 320 DP to your 261 AP and you cut through them. And then when people got like 281 AP, it was like, yeah, you still do a lot of damage, but now all these other classes are starting to kind of make more sense at 281.
Is it like they built the pets a while back, and Striker received one of those buffs as well, where they scaled it up to 100 AP instead of whatever it was before, 80. I think, is that going to make like Striker Awakening better for that Striker ult, for that Striker Awakening ult, that's an iframe?
Well, the ult is like a contained thing. That's not necessarily the martial spirits doing stuff to you. Okay. So what you use, the great thing about those pets is that they have an 80% accuracy rate to them, which is generally really high. So adding more spirits popping up on more skills, you're basically just getting bit by more mosquitoes is how that plays out, So the fact that they changed the AP scaling from 75 to 100, I'm sure made a difference, right? You gave them more power. But I think that really did a lot more for Witch Wizard than it did Striker clones. But I could be wrong. I put Striker away from there. But I remember that when I was playing, it was 100% accuracy. And if you found somebody who was tanky, you had two combos. You had like a Death Strike combo that would take their DP away, and then you do raw damage. And then if that didn't work, you'd reset, grab them, do a Shift Q combo, which was basically get as many of these little fucking clones up there at them as you possibly could. So it cut through literally all of their evasion. And so now that's been brought back a little bit, but they keep adding more clones. They're giving them more damage at the expense of, just 20% of their accuracy. So, I mean, there's just been no downside to Striker ever since the Heidel Ball.
I'm kind of curious. So they buffed Striker, which seems a little strange. They also buffed Dark Knight, I believe, Dark Knight Succession, which also felt a little strange to me because I thought that was also pretty good in PvP.
Yeah, Dark Knight Succession got some buffs that came out of nowhere. I think Awakening probably needed some buffs, but Succession already seemed really strong, and they got buffed hard. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. DKs are good, and like when you get jumped by a DK, there's very little you can do about it. But as far as like wanting a DK in large scale or even small scale or even PvE, I think DK is in a bad spot, especially with a lot of these new classes that are out. So I don't disagree with some DK buffs.
I'm just kind of curious. Like, I really wish they gave us some context for their goal, because obviously the last one was obvious. It's like we want to buff PvE, and that made sense. But this one, I don't know if it's 1v1 targeted, or because that wouldn't make any sense at all. But if it's Node War targeted and they're bouncing everything around Node Wars, then that makes sense to me. I don't know, and they're not doing it around Battlefield, or maybe they are. I don't know.
They say they're trying to balance it around everywhere. I mean, from that whiz note, but that's part of the problem, right? Is that we have a completely different set of rules for every different type of PvP in the game as well. So they keep making that harder and harder on themselves for no real reason. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised you think that Suck DK needs some buffs though, man. That's like, is it just because they can't like ball versus ball as well as Suck Wiz? I mean, what do you feel like that class was missing?
Would you rather play a 2800 or 3500 or whatever it is HP Suck DK in a large scale fight, or would you rather play an Awakened Striker in the exact same position, accomplishing the exact same things? Or a sword?
I think it's a playstyle thing. I think DK is a legit like skirmisher, backline, diver, annoying like type of class, whereas Striker has a lot more like protected damage and ability to like, I don't know, just kind of outscale with high defensive gear. DK is more like they iframe up on you, Nocturne behind you, blow you up in 2 seconds and get away. Like it's way more of an assassin class, where Striker I see is more of kind of like a bruiser.
I think they're way more vulnerable as they're doing their combo, especially in large scale. So you really got to catch somebody who's like straggling behind on the regroup or something, unless you catch a shot caller out or something like that. I think you can play a different class that's very similar, that has better defensive abilities, more protected damage, and be more useful. The only thing I really used DKs and Aftershock for was Flex to go blow up and stop rebuilds because their PvE damage was pretty good compared to most classes that had iframes. So they'd be able to, go get those rebuilds real quick. They do a Nocturne, blow it up, and then iframe the fuck out of there. And gap close really well too. So, I mean, that's in large scale. That's all I really kind of used them for, found use for. And back in the 220 AP days when it was just Awakening, their Shift E would blow somebody up from out of render distance. And that's pretty much the last time that, to me in large scale, they were like super useful.
I guess the power creep is just kind of insane because like everyone in chat's saying, why would you play Suck DK when you can just play Suck Hosh? And honestly, yeah, you're kind of right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like, I guess these new classes are just so fucking insane that like even classes that were very solid before are starting to fall off and need buffs. That's as a Suck warrior, that's pretty fucking scary because we were already at the bottom, and I don't see any buffs for us coming anytime soon.
I really think part of this is just the long range. Like the game is just getting more and more and more into a long range meta. Like Sage has long range skills, or at least medium range skills. Like Hashin has that. Nova has a few long range skills. Like it feels like you kind of even need that now. So any class that doesn't really have any of those, like DK or Warrior or maybe Tamer, I feel like maybe those classes are falling behind, not because they do bad DPS, but just because they're just being outranged, and so they're just not viable in the current meta.
Bro, I would never bring my Guardian to Siege again. I went to Siege a couple weeks ago with a 250 AP Blackstone, and I blew up some structures and I killed some kids through like cracks of walls and stuff. Mm-hmm. But you get 100 people casting down on you with anything. It doesn't even matter what class is throwing shit at you. You have no chance. You can't even get it. You have to like solve. All of a sudden, I was a skirmish class. And I've only been to a couple sieges on my Guardian, so I'm certainly not an expert or anything. But I completely agree with you. This range meta is 100%, 100%. And so the only reason I get away by being a Guardian main is basically low T1 caps. I'm sure they do fine in regular node wars and stuff like that too. But I think you're 100% right. We're just like these really up in your face classes are just struggling. We're like, why would you play Suck DK when Hashishin has so much more mobility and iframes and protection and stuff like that? So I agree with your chat and I agree with you, Potion. Yeah,
it makes sense. I'm curious. Like, I'm trying to think of the other classes that got buffs that were strange, or maybe just buffs that made sense.
Well, I'm a Guardian player, so Guardian got some basically bug fixes. Apparently, if somebody was going from, and I have no idea why you would do this unless you took the wrong core skill, going from pre-awakened straight into Searing Fang, which is a non-CC super armor one hit, then it's a complicated skill. Basically, I don't know why anybody would go from pre-awakened to Searing Fang, but I guess the super armor, they finally figured out that the super armor wasn't applying from the two people that had that bad habit, so they fixed that. And then for some reason, Cleansing Flame, which is our bread and butter skill, and all the 200 IQ Guardian players use the core skill on that, they linked the speed to Fireborn Rupture, which is something you would never use after Cleansing Flame in PvP. I guess that's a PvE buff, because nope, it doesn't make any sense. So nothing really happened with Guardian.
The Mystic buffs came out of nowhere for me. Like, I think Succession Mystic got the most damage buffs in a single patch that I've ever seen in the history of this game. It looked just absolutely crazy. Just pretty much every single Prime Mystic skill got buffed by 20 to 30%.
Was it Succession Lawn back in the day?
Yeah, it looks like the Suck Lawn patch, which, got kind of like retroactively, freaked out on the week later. So we'll see if Mystic gets the same treatment. But yeah, I mean, anyone playing Suck Mystic woke up, I think, pretty surprised to those changes. They also decided to put another 30% slow on Awaken Mystic and tie it to the vacuum skill, as if that wasn't already fun enough to get hit with. So, yeah, I don't know. 2 steps forward, 3 steps backward, I guess.
Yeah, the Mystic vacuum is kind of a baby vacuum.
Well, now it's got a 30% slow on it, so yay!
Yeah.
So this is all PvP succession damage increases. I'm sorry, Potion. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's weird.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's weird. I don't know how I feel about this because I don't remember the last time I saw a succession mystic in large scale PvP. It may be needed. When they did that to Lon, it was like, what the fuck are they smoking?
Well,
but I don't.
I feel my fear underneath all this is like they're going to do all these PvP changes, and people are going to start crying not because they're weak in Node Wars, but because they're strong in 1v1s, and then they'll just ask for nerfs to the same classes that they just ask for buffs for, and it's sort of like I feel like it's sort of like the developers need to think of cleverly about like how to buff classes where it buffs them in Node Wars, but does not buff them in 1v1s, and I feel like they're not thinking critically about those issues.
Well, they don't play the game.
Well, what's the goal? Like, is the goal for every single spec to be viable in large scale, or are some classes supposed to be better at 1v1? Like, do we want every class to be balanced in every aspect? I don't know. That doesn't seem realistic or even fun. Like other MMOs that have tried to do that just end up making every class identical.
Yeah, they're all like wired down, no identity.
I thought Succession Mystic was a PvE pick. Because Awakened Mystic is apparently dead for PvE. So I thought Mystics were PvPing in Awakening and PvPing in Awakening and PvEing in Succession. And so maybe they just want to make the viability of it a little better on Mystic. I don't really know.
Yeah, like as far as like what you were saying, Moreland, I do think that
Awakened's dead.
I think that some classes should be tailored towards 1v1s and some should be tailored towards Node Wars. And if your class isn't tailored to the activity that you enjoy, then you should tag a class that is. I do think every class should be viable in like PvE. That makes sense because that's how you earn money, and that's makes sense. But in PvP, you have two different formats, right? You have open world format or small scale format, and you have large scale format. And I think fundamentally, unless the developers get incredibly better at doing their jobs, they're never going to be able to make the game where melee classes and range classes or like every class is good in every activity. They're just never going to be able to do that because that requires a way higher level of precision than Probus is currently able to execute. I mean, in games,
it's not even a matter of precision. It requires you to equalize those classes in terms of playstyle. Like it literally requires you to make the classes more alike. You can't have classes that are very different and also balanced in both 1v1 and large scale. Like there's aspects of a class that make it good in one area of PvP that would make it not good in another area of PvP. You'd have to literally take those aspects away and make the classes more similar to get rid of those dichotomies.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't. What do you think, Tim? Like, do you think every class should be good at everything, or do you think that they should keep them separate?
So I think it used to be back in the day. It was kind of like this cost value analysis, cost benefit analysis that you'd have to make. It's like there was like I like a tire analogy where a tire can only accelerate, brake, and turn, and those are the three things a tire on a car can do, right? And a tire only has 100% capacity. Once you do 101%, it starts breaking loose and not doing those things correctly. So those three things for the classes were PvE, PvP, and grind, or PvE, PvP, and 1v1s. And so you'd be like, well, I like 1v1, so I'm going to play Striker or something like that. My grind's just going to suck. And now they've kind of come back, and I think they're trying to make PvE a little more even across all classes, because I guess it really just does come down to getting the percentages on the skills right. And then the play style kind of comes down to the PvP side of things, how you want to play, what class you want to do. But now we have the tag system too. So really, I think they're trying to even this all out to where you kind of just pick your play style and everything's within a range, and it's just up to the player's skill to maximize whatever the intent is. I know that was kind of wordy and not very concise, but I think it used to have to be something you had to consider, and they're trying to just to put a bow on it. And now they're trying to just make it even over all those things that you used to have to consider. And you just have to go, well, I like playing this class because it's fun and everything is competitive in its own right.
Playing for fun Says the suck wizard.
I think it makes sense that they're trying to achieve that, but if you look at like World of Warcraft, they did that for their ranked arenas. I think it was like 3v3 arenas what they had, and from what I've heard, that just turned into garbage because every class just felt the same. Every class had a certain amount of healing to it. Every class had a certain amount of defense and offense to it, and there was no identity to a class anymore.
That's a halfway decent analogy because it brings up. I think World of Warcraft has the same problem in an opposite way that BDO does, where their time to kill is so fucking slow that it almost just homogenizes class identity completely. But in uncapped large scale for BDO, our time to kill is so short that it almost completely homogenizes class identity completely. You're either iframe or you're not iframe. You're ranged or you're not ranged, and that's basically it. So yeah, I think we're taking a different path to the same destination overall. I was actually thinking about this yesterday, day before, where we're getting all these different balances and stuff that's going on, and they're changing node wars, and this is happening. We're finally going to have cap mercs and new node war system, and classes are getting balanced, and we're getting new classes and different mechanics. But you know what's not being answered, and what the only thing that they did was roll back their answer. It's time to kill in large scale. You get a little more HP in large scale, and that's about it. That's literally fucking it.
Yeah, they're not fixing the core issue.
All that time and all that stress that they put on time to kill in this game, they did seasons, they did Papu and Otter Island, and they dangled a bunch of new classes in front of us, and nobody fucking remembered time to kill. Everybody forgot about it, including me.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's still not addressed. I mean, I guess going back to kind of like that kind of goes back to like big issue stuff. And one of the big things they tried to fix in this patch was slow stacking. What do you guys think about that as far as like one of the big issues?
Did they try?
I mean,
back to the whole it's a start, right? Like,
yeah,
it's always a start. It's a step in the right direction.
Like
what?
Just like time to kill, right? And like, the HP that added to Node Wars is like a step in the right direction. I feel like the slow stacking changed from 99% to 50% is a step in the right direction. But the underlying issue is that the slows on the classes themselves is too strong, and there's too many of them, or they last too long, right? There's other issues that need to be addressed, or the fact that they don't have diminishing returns when they stack.
Is anybody really upset about a Gravedigger? Like you get hit by Gravedigger. Okay, so don't be mad. I think what the real problem is here is when you get hit by a Gravedigger and then you get hit by a Blizzard, and then you've got add-ons to make that Blizzard even worse, or you've got a Guardian Axe Thrower that makes that even worse, and all of a sudden you're at minus 80 to 99% movement speed with no CC cap or answer to it. So I don't think that this is a stab. I think this is a very strong answer to slow stacking, because they can't just like cap it at 25% and kill slows altogether. They got to do something with it.
Capping it at 25% does not kill. So I think the cap should be 30. 50% is still a devastating slow. Like, have you gone and ate a 50% slow? Like, how often were you really getting slow?
I'm a fucking guardian. I eat a lot of shit constantly,
and you can
I know how
your class at 50%. If I'm 50% slowed, I am dead. Those slow abilities might as well just do 10,000 damage.
You're playing a dead fucking class. Escape.
Yeah,
you have no iframes.
I mean, I don't know, dude. A 50% slow, like, maybe it's my fault for playing what I play, but like a 50% slow is a 100% death sentence. And I think it's not like Potion said, it's not just the intensity of the slow. It's the fact that there's no CC limit. The durations are insane. If they were going to have 50% slows, then make all slows last 5 seconds and give me an immunity window similar to CCs, where if I get slowed several times in a row, I cannot be slowed anymore after those wear off.
Okay, so I think this is okay, if you guys are really that strong on slows, I think this is a good first stab. I don't think you just like go in and kill the patient and say we cured the disease. Well, I think you got to make a first stab at it. And I think capping it at 50% is because then you have to start changing. I don't think anybody has more than a 50% slow, right? So They don't have to change any skills overall. I think the worst slow there is a 50%. So you just change your add-ons if you've got something more than that, because they won't do anything now. So I think that's a phenomenal first step. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. It's got their attention. Hopefully they'll take a second look at it or something and be like, well, maybe we should tune that down a little bit or put a cap on how often that happens or something like that, which I hope they do, for the record, because then that'll make them look at vacuums, by the way, right? That would be the natural next step, I think. But they got to start somewhere, and I think that's a pretty good start.
I agree. I think it's a good start. And to be fair, like, we won't exactly know how this feels in Node Wars until we have it in our hands and we've played it a little bit. And it might be clear, like, after like the very first hour that, okay, this is not enough. Or it might be very clear after the first hour that this is actually pretty good for, 80% of the time we're out here. And like, that won't be something I think we can tell 100% until we get our hands on it. So
I don't think I was getting slowed to 80-90% that often. I think that 50% was more than enough to make my game unplayable. It's nice that Guardian doesn't have to deal with that, because you have 13 different ways you can disengage and every one of your abilities has super armor. But I don't know, man. For me, it just makes me not want to play the game when that shit happens.
Do we know how? Sorry.
I think a 50% slow is manageable. It should be manageable. If your class is a little more susceptible to slows than other classes are, you do have a super armor block too, right? So like there's ways to play around that. There has to be some sort of give and take. It can't just be, well, let's make slows, to the lowest common denominator, which happens to be Suck Warrior or whatever the case is, right? I think they did like this kind of easy, we don't have to change any class mechanics. Let's start here. Or it could just be the final answer, but I think it's reasonable.
I just think it's a bad mechanic. Like, I don't know what the design purpose of slows are to begin with. Like, what are they there for? Are they there to counter super armors? Like, why don't we just make super armor less prevalent then, if that's the case? Like, what is the purpose of having a slow mechanic in this game at all? It literally just only makes the game less fun. That's all it does.
I think it's just kind of overarching too much too, because like when you get a slow, you almost always get attack speed, cast speed, and movement speed. And in movement speed affects movement speed skills, which is just extra agony on top of agony. Where like some games, movement slow would only affect your when you're walking, and if you're doing a ability that moves you, you still can get out of the way a little bit. So there's like some like strategy when you realize you get a slow put on you. Then, but right now there's like no strategy other than iframe if you have one. So I don't know. I feel like they need to put a little more thought into it. I feel like it's a really cool base idea, but you need to think of like what this is going to bring to the player and like how's it going to enhance the playing experience. And I feel like they just added it as a feature as a check mark, and they didn't really think about like how players are going to counterplay against this. How's it going to make the experience more enjoyable, more complex? How are they going to think around this? Like, I don't think they really thought any of that through. And I think they kind of need to, since the game's been out a while now, it's time to revisit maybe that a little bit more.
I have Moreland's passion about vacuums, right? So if you replace slows with vacuums, like that's what I think is really terrifying to this game. It is 100% a CC, and it's not just a CC, it's a group CC. There's no diminishing return or cooldown on it, and you can still stack debuffs when they're in it. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's buggy because if we have better servers, I'm a monkey's uncle, or the lag catch-up mechanic or whatever that's actually fucking called is just so terrible that this like weird, badly coded actual CC that isn't a CC is the most egregious thing. So let's cap slows to 50% and then start there, and then let's fucking delete vacuums from the game.
I actually think that vacuums shouldn't be continuous. Like, I think vacuums, combining a vacuum and a slow idea would be pretty cool. Like, imagine you got vacuumed, and then after that, it was just like you slowly would get out of the bubble, and then you're free. And it doesn't ever suck you back in if you walk back into it or anything. That would make sense.
You're onto something there, because I think that's the most egregious thing of it is how long you get stuck in that vacuum.
The duration. Mm-hmm. If it was just a pull, not like a continuous vacuum, but a pull, if you could pull players and that was it was a one-time effect, then fine. But the fact that you get sucked in and then locked in place, it's like, okay, how does this not count towards the CC limit? Like, have any of these devs actually PvP'd in this game?
Yeah.
It's like one of the devs that actually makes skills was an Awakened Sork and thought the black hole thing was the coolest thing ever. But the black hole wasn't that bad. It wasn't that big of a pull. There wasn't so many of that mechanic happening. It was the most egregious thing in the world. And even when your effects were turned off, you could still see it. There's these tornadoes and vacuums and shit that are going off. You can't play large scale with effects on. You fucking can't. If you do, when I see clips, when I VOD review T1, so many of these T1 guys play with effects on. And it's just it looks like somebody's vomiting pixie dust all over the fucking monitor. You can't actually see anything. So outside of the idiots who actually don't know to turn this shit off,
you're not going to be able to see Sage if you turn effects off after this nerf. Just FYI.
They need to know that any half intelligent person that plays this video game does not play large scale with effects on, and they need to kind of cater.
They need to have a visual clarity version of the game.
I can't see Sorks otherwise.
I feel like I think it's one of the things they need in the games. They need a visual clarity version of the game. It looks like you turn on the game mode and it looked like Valorant, or like it would look like League of Legends, like smoothed background or something, where it's just like you just see the characters really clearly and you can see like where they're at and their animations, but it takes away all the flair.
Optimization mode.
Yeah, like
I mean, that's why so many tryhards play in optimization mode, is because it has those highlights and shit that the regular game doesn't have. It's very odd that they haven't done what you're describing.
It needs some type of visual
even
clarity.
for Shadow Arena, like your character glows when he has super armor, and like there was stuff that they started to do there that I wish they would iterate on in BDO.
So I think that was more of my point. I was getting on a toxic tie right there, but I understand. I can't see shit if I'm playing with effects on whatsoever, but there's a trade-off, right? That shouldn't exist. You should be able to see what's happening in the game. You should be able to get the fluff out and see the necessary information, I think is what I was really trying to say.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
For my eyes and how it works, I don't understand how people can play with effects on when there's a node war of more than 25 people. And even at that, these skills are getting more and more, frilly and shit like that. It gets harder to kind of see through it. But it's also getting more and more important to be able to see these things that you can't see when the effects are turned off. So,
Yep.
Damned if you
There's
do, damned if you
bunch of
don't.
invisible classes if you turn your effects off.
I don't even know what a Nova suck looks like versus a Hashishine suck versus a Sage suck. I just go, I'm stuck in something. Hope this ends soon.
Yeah.
It's not. This is terrible. I'm dead.
I feel like
Even with effects on, you can't see it until you're caught in it anyways.
Well, that's why I'm so afraid to play Succession Wizard and even small scale, right? Small scale, large scale, is because the only reason I have a chance of surviving any of that is because I have a T5 pay to win fairy and I have a super armor block that I can just go weather the storm. And HP on hit skills. I'm talking myself out of going to Suck Wiz tonight.
Have you tried Suck Sage?
No thanks.
Join them.
I think it's kind of the new Suck Wiz for T1s, dude.
I don't want to do it.
It hits so hard, right?
I've divorced myself from grinding in this game for the foreseeable future. So coming up with 1.6 or 1.7 build to tag again just isn't going to happen.
You don't have to tag for T1s. Grab Oasis weapons.
True.
I think from the testing that we did, that's 100% untrue.
Only on structures. Do you actually ever hit structures? Come on.
Bro, I invented dying on the ping. How fucking dare you take it back? How many times does Impact
honestly,
go, get on Tim?
Tim was, I think, one of maybe 2 or 3 people who was actually in Muted's fort last night when we were screaming repeatedly to get on the fort. Fucking RC and all these other heroes were just out on the outskirts ignoring calls for 30 minutes straight. Yeah, I saw you, RC.
Okay, so I've watched a couple RC VODs. He kills like 4 people, then gets to the ping. That's a terrible person to call out. What I thought was weird is I'm DMing D-Mike to like bring him back down to earth. And then he's going, well, everyone's dead. Is anybody at the ping? Yeah, I'm here. All right, Corbs, take over. All right, that's cool. That's fine. No worries. I'm not salty about it. Meanwhile, D Mike's telling us what's happening to his cats in the other room or something. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Don't get me started. I'm gonna get kicked.
I learned a lot about how tall everyone was during that war.
D Mike is like 5'2" or something. Why does he bring that up? Nobody would know if he didn't say it.
He mentioned his height thousands of times during that fight.
It's not true.
Is it worth watching the VOD? Was this on stream?
If you want to pull your hair out.
Yeah, I mean, I mean that's see suffering.
Pulling hair out and suffering is prime Twitch content right there.
It was a rare bad showing for us. You know, every guild has one every once in a while. You know, it doesn't mean we're going to pull out of Siege completely. I mean, I'm sorry, I was talking about somebody else. It doesn't mean that we're going to, stop doing T1s. You know, we had a big blowout in Discord about it afterwards, and we all sang Kumbaya after. And I Moreland's part of the leadership. He can speak to it better than I can, but I'm pretty sure we all learned something. He doesn't look at the Discord. It's the same thing as Arsha. He doesn't do shit for the guild, and he just has a title.
Hey, I'm there if anyone needs me.
We've talked about a lot of Global Lab stuff, so I figured we'd finish up with that stuff before we go to like regular patch notes.
Sounds good, yeah. Yep. They
added passive defenses that only work in Node Wars, but you have to learn it as a passive skill. What do you...
Is this in the individual character screen, or is this guild skills you're talking about?
It's an individual guild skills, right? I think it's an individual.
No, these are individual skills.
Yeah.
Really?
But it's only for Node Wars.
Yeah, you like turn in Node War medals to enable them or something.
Yeah, and you can choose either. I think you can level it from like 1 to 5, and it goes up to 25 defense for the chosen one, but you can only choose one of 3. And the 3 options are melee, magic, or range defense. So
magic and range are different. That's interesting. What is Suck Whiz? Is that just magic?
Magic, yeah. The only range
like archer range.
Literally just archer and ranger are ranged. That's it.
Oh, well, so everybody gets magic defense.
Yeah.
GG Suck Whiz.
Literally everybody gets magic defense, and Tamer gets accidentally nerfed because it's arbitrarily grouped in with these other casters. It's really just so bizarre. I don't know like what 2016 dev is still stuck in the Calfian era and trying to keep this melee magic, this absolutely failed melee magic range mechanic. Like, it's just shocking.
All right, let's throw it to Kerr to see what he thinks about the Tamer part of this. Bro, why do they keep doing Tamer like this, bro? Why do they keep doing Tamer like this? They don't need this. What did they do to them? I'm just glad I re-rolled finally after 5 years of playing a dead class, bro. All right, thank you, Kerr. Appreciate it. I'm not going to get
always
banned
welcome
for that.
On the podcast.
I'm not going to get banned for that, am I? That was appropriate, right?
I think that's pretty fair.
Okay. I don't think the court sees you as an expert on that potion, but that's okay. We don't have to get back into that.
I think the biggest thing is I don't like that it's only for Node Wars. Like the individual class balance thing, like if you wanted to nerf Wizard and Witches indirectly, then like I think a lot of other ways you can do that. I think the player base has grown up enough to know that you can nerf them by 10% across the board if that's what you wanted to accomplish. I don't really.
Yeah, it feels like they want to nerf casters, but they're too afraid to do it or something, and so they're like, "Oh, we'll give players a choice of which one they're gonna. Do you want to take less damage against Archer, or do you want to take less damage against Wizard and Witch and Dark Knight and 15 other classes? Hashashin is also magic for some reason.
Like
Potion brings up a good point. One of my biggest pet peeves about this game is, and I'll say it again, right? We use the fingers on this one. RBF is different from Open World, which is different from T1 Node Wars, which is different from Node Wars, regular Node Wars, which is different from Siege. And so now we're adding another mechanic to make it even more different. Node Wars specifically separate from Open World and RBF. So it's like, maybe we just call PvP PvP. I could see having something different from Siege. Saturday night, right? Have the Saturday night difference versus Open World and Node. But the fact that RBF, Open World, and Node are all separate from each other and Siege blows my fucking mind. And doubling down on this is bad development. It's bad development.
I agree. It would be a lot. The things I do like about this, before we get into all the super stuff we don't like about it, is I do like that it's going to be a physical button you can see on your screen. I like that, because all these other ones so far have been things that we can't see physically on our screen anywhere, and then you just have to memorize them from patch notes from ages gone, ages past, or whatever you want to say for it. It's just I like that at least I can see it on my screen, so future players can know that that's actually a thing, and you get to actually spend some time working towards it, which also feels rewarding to the player. But the thing I don't like is that, like you said, it applies to only Node Wars. I feel like it should apply to everything in the game. If they're even if I think they should really just remove it and just nerf Witch Wizard. I think that would make more sense. But if they're going to do something like this, it should apply to all game modes.
All right, well, let's get Moreland's take on this. How long are we going to have to wait until we actually know that it works? We're going to need Big and Shiny here to test it, or else we'll never know that it actually is involved in the game.
I agree with that.
You weren't saying it, so I had filled it in for you. But, you know, that is...
Speaking of things that need testing, is I'm like 50% sure that your pets scale off your main hand AP and not your awakening AP. So that means if you have pets and you're grinding in Elvia, you actually always grab the main hand if you have pets, because it'll buff your pets, and even if you're using the awakening.
Your pets cap at 100 AP.
But my pets do more damage when I have the Elvia weapons. Like I said, I think it needs more testing, but my Sage, I do basically more damage in my awakening. I do almost the same damage in my awakening with a main hand weapon from Elvia.
But you don't get the special skill.
Yeah, I don't get a special skill, but that's fine. I don't ever use it anyway.
You don't use it?
You need to use it.
I've never tried it, so I don't know if it's good or not.
It's amazing. All classes, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think Sage has it
the
yet.
Most fun.
I've been playing Sage Awakening, so I don't think.
Oh yeah,
yet.
no, Sage doesn't have it yet.
Oh, do they not?
That's probably
so
why.
With okay, when they get it, or if you go on a different class or whatever, you have to use it. For Guardian, we just do like this big overhead smash, and in Castle Runes, I pull 3. One person pulls a pack, I pull another pack, so there's like 30 mobs, right? It's 3 pulls worth, and I hit the one button, and it kills all 3 packs. Like one by one, you can see the hits go off on this pack, the hits go off on that pack, and the hits go off on the last pack, and they're all dead in one shot. It's incredible. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I'll have to try that sometime.
Yeah, don't sleep on that.
I'm trying to think what we were talking about before I distracted us off topic.
How dare you? We were going through the global notes patch notes. I think you were talking about the
passive skills.
The pick one passive thing.
Yeah.
Right, but what it does, the positive it does do is increase time to kill.
Yeah, and I think that if they change this from all classes, from just Node Wars to all parts of the game, I don't think it'd be perfect, but at least it'd be tolerable.
How much magic resist do we have? Do we even know?
Well, defense now offers 1 of each, I believe, right? It offers you 1 defense for melee, ranged, and magic. So this is just giving you the magic side of that. So it's like 1/3 of a DP for a particular class.
Even if you get the 25 magic defense, I don't think it's really gonna keep you alive a ton longer, especially at high ends. But I don't know. It's something, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you want to talk about next, Potion?
I wanted to mention that the way they're buffing Sorceress, I think is a little strange, because Sorceress inherently has low accuracy. It's just how they built the class. I don't know why, but it just has like inherently low accuracy, so that's why they're trying to buff that, so that doesn't have to build extra accuracy just to be even with other classes, which is going to increase its overall power because you don't have to build as much gear, right? Is the idea. They gave 12 accuracy to 1 succession ability and 1 awakening ability. And I feel like this is like a band-aid fix for the issue. I feel like they should just buff the base accuracy of Sorceress to where within other classes, and then you don't have to have this weird like 12% accuracy thing. It's going to be even harder to manage because it's just going to buff everything.
What was the when we all got a new awakening skills? What was the one that Sork got?
She got one that looked like Dead Hunt, 2 hits of Dead Hunt, and plus like something extra.
It was a frontal guard down smash, right?
Yeah, something like that. I haven't played with it.
And you want to talk about how bad Sork's accuracy is? There has to be a downside to the class, dude.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think that. Well, I mean, the downside of the class is that you have to build more gear on average than other players. So if you're looking at extreme in-game builds, Sorceress will never be able to compete on a gear level because she can't ever build enough gear because she doesn't have enough inherent stats built into the class.
It doesn't scale well. You have to use your skill, right?
Exactly.
So, but the kit's there.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't really agree with this change though. I think everything they did in it just makes it feel strange because they gave her more stamina, which makes her give more iframes, which makes her more annoying, and then they give her more accuracy, which means she doesn't have to rely on skill as much. It's just like everything about this screams like they're catering towards like an extremely casual Sork, and Sork is never meant to be that casual class that you just peck up and play in PvP. It's just not supposed to be a go-to.
On the real though, I think it's I don't think it's a bad thing to make Sork more viable at higher end gears, because I think people who have 309 Kudum, like when we have Biohack on here and he's like, yeah, I play Sork, and when I have the gear, it's the gear doesn't do anything for me, and it's worthless. So I play other classes instead. And so I think now that the money generation in this game is so high and there are people enhancing for profit and that kind of stuff, having more classes be viable at max cap gear is probably a conversation that's going to keep happening.
Yeah, that's true. And I do think that's something important to consider. And as a company who's trying to base their primary income through enhancing gear and like crown stones and artist memories and stuff, I think it makes sense for them to try to make that balance happen. The last thing you don't want is one of your big whales to say, "Oh, I don't play this class because it doesn't scale well with my pay-to-win gear."
I didn't realize Sork was having this problem. This is news to me.
Biohack literally talked about it like 3 times on this podcast.
It's just extremely geared. Like Lawn Succession has the same problem in PvP. Like you can't get enough gear to make it competitive. You can compensate for that with skill potentially, but you can't get enough gear to be even with another class. So you just have to play harder instead of why play harder when you can just reroll to another class.
That's literally Guardian's subtitle. Why play harder? Just play Guardian.
Let me see what else we had here for these notes on Global Lab because I keep forgetting what they were. Oh yeah, they did Sage core skills, Sage LV ability got added, and Sage Black Spirit Rage 10%, 25%, 50%. I think that's crazy that they're even still doing 10, 25%, 50%. Like, I feel like most people don't really care about this.
What?
Like, it's not really like a big thing, or in like maybe 1v1s, right?
It's huge for everyone, everywhere.
Like, how do people normally use their 10%, 25%, 50%? Like, how is that normally used?
It's different for various classes, but sometimes you get extra protection, extra damage, extra CC effects. So you cap your opponent's HP so they can't heal. Bigger hitboxes on the abilities. There's just different combos you can do. Changes up the warrior 10% pulverize, gives you access to a combo that wouldn't work otherwise. I don't even every class has super important stuff they can do.
I'm sorry,
with 10,
I
20,
zoned
50s.
out. I zoned out for a second. What's happening?
The Black Spirit Rage
dismounting.
10, 25%, 50%. Like, do you find them to be viable on the majority of classes? Do you think there's like a purpose in still continuing to support them as a like Pearlbit supporting them?
Yeah. Man, that's a good question. I wish there was a way to dismount that didn't have anything to do with BSR, because BSR is so like highly meta-ized, dry eyes. Where I just end up giving all my BSR to somebody else anyway, and then I see a horse and I'm like, how do I use my 10% again? And I understand that's like my fault kind of thing, but I wish there was some way else to dismount. But like some classes, I felt like the 50%, 25%, 10% thing was probably a little more substantial before core skills for Awakening. I don't know how many classes are doing all those percentage things in like large scale PvP. You can kind of cheese somebody in a 1v1 every once in a while, just to change things up. But I don't know how I'm like super I'm being honest, I really don't know. But I only use it for like dismounting or something. And I've barely touched them since core skills. I just give it to the Valk or the succession Zerker.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the only reason I died in the first round of the official tournament is because my opponent had 50% BSR that was supposed to be reset before the rounds. In the second round, when he did, in the second round he did the same combo. I didn't die to it, so it definitely makes a difference.
But his question is, should that be something that they continue to support? Does the 10, 25, and 50% BSR make sense in 2021? Going towards 2022 BDO, and I think that's an interesting.
I just don't think it's sustainable.
What are they going to do? Are they going to just stop giving it to new classes?
They don't have it in succession, and succession works just fine, right?
Yeah, I just think that if they're going to do something where they're always going to be doing it for new classes, they need to do something that is sustainable for like the next 5 years. And I don't see them doing a 5% Black Spirit Rage, and then a 20%, and then a 75%. It just seems kind of ridiculous at some point. I don't feel like that's a sustainable like content model for them. I feel like
Wizard had their Voltaic, whatever that's called, Cataclysm. That's their 10%. And then they ended up putting Cataclysm, like they gave it the BSR range. Like they just made the skill into that. So you can still wound somebody and knock people off the horse with their Cataclysm. But I guess Moose's 10% is good. If anybody fucking cares about that, somebody's blown me up to say that. So I guess there's some people who still play dead classes where, some 10% matter a little bit. But, Awaken Wiz, Cataclysm is the only thing I can think of. But it only adds like one extra hit, dismounts, and it's the same. Now it's the same distance as the regular one. I'm with you. I don't know how this scales. This might be just something that kind of outscaled the game as a whole and turned it a bloat.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like if they're spending development time on that, I think there's way cooler ideas they could like spend that time on. Like make it where I can pick like 3 different versions of the same ability or something. Like there's other cool things they can do with that time that give me a lot more freedom than Black Spirit Rage. Because Black Spirit Rage, I feel like it's a lot of effort and then minimum return because almost nobody uses it. I don't know. It's like if it does get used, it just seems very minimum. But anyway, it's something to mention that Sage is getting that. It's on Global Labs, so we should get that in a week or two. Same with the Sage Elvia ability for the Awakening and the Core skill. So week or two for that. The other cool thing they did here is they added a new Wanban and Jin for Ignore Resistance, I believe. And so you can now craft that. I think gives you HP and attack damage. So it's either 2 or 3 attack damage. The Jin is a 3 attack damage and 100 HP. So the Wan and Ban is like a combination of that, right? You either get 50 HP and 3 attack, or you get 2 attack and you get 100 HP. So anyway, it's a little interesting. I think the bouncing on it looks a little strange to me currently. Not sure if anybody would be interested in something kind of that low, but maybe there's some off-meta builds for Ignore Resistance in the current like Crystal meta.
Well, resistances are really strong right now. So I think some classes are definitely going to go for this if you feel like you have enough damage. I mean, it hurts to give up all that crit damage in your offhand, but I think there's going to be some people who opt in for the extra ignore resist, especially for large scale.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, as long as there's like more diversity, I think that's really cool because I think that's something that Crystals have been doing a pretty good job of is creating like options. And it's like there's always usually like one. It's like the meta option, but for like the chest, you can do like Han Hooms, or you can do Dark Red Vein Crystal, or you can do something else, right? It's like a couple different options there. Yeah, Dark Red Vein Crystals, I'm telling you, people are sleeping on that for PvE. Not for PvP, I have no idea if it works or not.
Yeah, if you're dying in Akhman, it's the #1 crystal choice.
True.
I missed that meme, dude.
I can't remember I can't believe you remember that.
I remember a lot of stuff. You guys sleep on my memory.
It is. I think really, really strong for PvE. I'm running one right now. I mean, I like it.
Don't say.
Hey, I mean, I'm a DR build. I got to make do, right?
Yeah.
What was the other thing in here? I think that's. Oh, they made some changes to Medal of Honor.
Special attack evasion is what you're supposed to run in your chest.
That's for PvP though, right? You don't use that for PvE.
Yeah, that's for people who play the game.
I mean, when they make PvP fun, then I'm a put that on my chest.
I'll put something on your chest.
Don't tease me with a good time. They made some changes to Medal of Honor. I don't know what they were. I can't read Korean.
Oh, you're fucking with me, right?
Yeah, I'm fucking with you.
So 20 of them give you, oh, these are really bad. These are like new items or something. That's good that they're changing a little bit, but like they better not take whale potions out of here.
I think they're just in addition to the current stuff, right?
I hope so. No longer require shiny metal honor that was previously acquired, but can be exchanged the same as before. Brilliant honor rare metal is an item with new components added from the list of shiny honorable metals. It's buffs.
Wait,
it's like
they're getting rid of the old metals?
Seems that way.
Damn, I totally missed that.
I am buying as many whale potions as I possibly can right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's subject to change, right? And then if they're going to do this, they're probably going to roll it out with the new node war changes. So it could be like potentially a long way off, or it could be next week. So this, you never know. With anything related to node war, it's just hard to tell right now. Because I mean, they put the original Global Lab node war change out, and it's been 6 months since then, and we still don't have that. So I kind of am suspicious of anything that's node war related right now.
That's fair. That may even be astute.
I think that's it for Global Labs. Is there anything else in Global Labs? Any classes you want to talk about that we didn't talk about for the buffs, nerfs?
When I was looking at BD's Twitter, didn't they say something about? Hold on, BD Foundry. Didn't they say something about that they re-put the new Node War system on there or something?
It's on there on Global Lab. It's there.
Oh, metal update and passive skills. I'm sorry, I misread. I got excited because they said Node War. That's weird. So they're going to add more changes before the big change. Okay.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. I mean, at this point, like the node, it seems like to me they're doing an iterative process on the node war changes, and I mean, I hope it's worth the wait. That's all I can say about it.
That's all it is. They are fucking scared. They're making massive sweeping changes to a video game they've never played. They're so out of their depth.
Yeah, and the thing is, like the current node war system, it somewhat works, and every tweak they've made to it has almost made it worse. So, like, making a new node war system has got to be like 10 times the pressure. Like whoever that dude is who's working on it right now is like stressing out, has no nails, like he's got like big bags underneath his eyes trying to
Imagine how painfully boring this game would be if the entire PvP community just up and fucking left.
I mean, it's the reason why the majority of people work on their gear, because if you don't have PvP that's meaningful, then you're working on gear for the sake of working on gear so you can grind more gear faster. Like, it's not exciting.
Yeah, you don't have a good time with that?
It could be if they actually added like in-game PvE content, Infinite Dungeon or something like that. It could actually be exciting to grind out for reasons other than PvP, but yeah, it's definitely missing at the moment.
Bro, I saw those big monsters on the Sage Awakening trailer for the Valencian dungeon, and they look pretty cool. There's one like a rhinoceros like Histria looking monster, and then there's like a bigger version of like the big Sakurai dude with a shield and sword. It's like a bigger version of him. And then there's like the Shadow Arena. They had the Shadow Arena like history looking monster thing that you can climb in as a mech. You get to fight him as like a boss this time. It's like a boss for the dungeon.
Does the dungeon have any sort of scaling, or is it a fixed like APDP?
We don't know anything about it. All they've done is shown the dungeon in the background of trailers and like other topics. They've never actually shown trailer footage, like footage of the dungeon, and talked about it at the same time. So like, all we have to go off is like the trailer of Sage Awakening, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Are things that are posted in the partner Discord still public like they used to be, or does the NDA cover all that shit?
I don't think we're allowed to talk about anything in there.
Yeah, it's all NDA stuff.
That's too bad.
I had to find someone who is loose-lipped to attack the old boy potion shop. Didn't check the partner list.
Potion. No, I was curious. I don't know if you can't answer it, you can't answer. But I was curious if they give you any sort of insight in the partner Discord as to, like they used to give little teasers and stuff like that, or if are they taking any sort of input from you guys, or is there, any kind of that kind of stuff going on, or is that all NDA? You can't talk about it.
The one thing that I'll say before I give Moron a chance to talk is we know that they're working with the partners a little bit because we had like the Arsha event and Amfield streamed that, right? He streamed it for like the strikers and stuff, and in order for him to be able to wake up and do that and plan his day, he had to have known about that ahead of time. And so, like, maybe he wasn't involved in the entire orchestration of it, but at the very least, they're coordinating to get partners to stream the activity. So I don't know any more than that, but to some extent, they have to know a little bit ahead of time.
Ahead of time on what?
I'm just curious if they're polling you guys on anything, if they're taking any of your feedback or giving you any sort of like, hey, we're thinking about this. What do you guys think about? Just generically, hopefully not trying to breach any contract or anything.
Oh, I mean, when they do like streams, they ask like, how do you guys think that went? But it's pretty informal. They don't like poll us on things or anything like that.
Oh, here's a safe question. In your personal feelings, do you feel like Pluribus is doing a better job than Cacao Games?
When it comes to the partner program?
Yes, and like feedback and stuff in regards to
that. I mean,
just
in regards
feelings.
to feedback, I haven't seen any. What do you mean, just feelings?
Well, feelings
Uh,
can't be sued.
Yeah, he's trying to protect you.
I'm not going to get sued, bro. I'm not that worried about it. I haven't seen any partner feedback actually like make its way to Pluribus in a way that's been implemented into the game. So that remains to be seen. Now, some of this stuff like takes time, so I'm not expecting it to happen instantly. But yeah, so far I haven't seen any of that.
That's fair.
In terms of like
being that not being part of the partner program, right? Like in the very beginning, they're just like, we don't care. Don't.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing what I like about the Pluribus partner program is that they're actually like interacting with the community. They're doing stream, like I think the streams that Lemoria and Enlave do, where they have people on. Like I think that stuff's really cool. It's something. Yeah, it's definitely better than what Cacao is doing. Cacao never did anything.
Did you see that they picked up GM Death today?
I did not see that.
She's a wonderful GM, and that's an awesome pickup. And then Cacao Games even responded on the announcement tweet that she's good and good luck at Pluribus and stuff. I thought that was a unique interaction.
So she was from Cacao Games, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, Cacao Games tweeted on Pluribus's announcement about GM Death coming over to Pluribus for BDO. GM Death did a great job over on the Cacao Games side, so I'm happy to see her come to the Pluribus side too.
That's good information. Well, do you guys want to jump into the patch notes of the live server? We talked about Global Lab a lot.
Yes, sir.
I think the biggest thing is they did a lot of Sage Awakening fixes, and feels pretty good. Last week, hated Sage Awakening. This week, love it. Actually feels like a completely different class to me.
Really? What changes made you feel that way?
Just some of the abilities combo better together, and the Arcanons got fixed for the most part. Before, the Arcanon damage was extremely inconsistent, and there's still, I think it's your F Arcanon, still bugs out. But for the most part, they're doing way more reliable damage. Either like they weren't hitting or something like that. I don't know exactly. But yeah, and also like the combination for like a shift right click, there's like a lot of combinations that they added. So you can easily like pick whatever combo you want to do, and the chances that will work together are pretty high. And so as like a player who wants to learn the class, It doesn't necessarily know the exact combo. It's way more enjoyable to play. Now, there's still like a min-max combo and abilities you do and don't use and stuff like that, or like the proper way of doing it exactly for the most DPS. But you can learn that as you go now, I feel like, instead of having to know that kind of off the get-go for someone who just wants to learn it casually. So anyway, I enjoy it a lot more. It feels a lot faster as far as like what chains together, and a lot more smooth. So big fan.
That's good.
Did you guys play? I guess Tim, you didn't play it.
No.
Did you play it anymore, Moro?
Yeah, I've been playing it a bunch. I took it to Star's End and tried it out. I think the class feels really good. I think it has a ton of potential. It still feels to me like it's missing something, and maybe when we get core skills or BSRs or whatever, it'll flesh it out a little bit more. But yeah, I'm having a good time with the class. I'm considering tagging it if I can get a little better at it and get a bit better of a feel for it. But I think this is the most interesting like new kit that they've put out in quite a while.
Since Hashishine?
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with Hashishine. And I think they did a good but like much different job with, like, I don't know, something about Awakened Sage feels more like it almost reminds me of Warrior in certain ways. Like it just feels like it doesn't feel like the other new classes. It feels like an older class, which might be a bad thing. I don't know.
I just don't want to start over with nuance and, you know, learning all the little things and stuff like that. That's just not it. I've done that too many times already, in my opinion. I really just kind of, my BDO thing right now, I'm having so much fun with Star Wars, not to go into that thing, but having so much fun with a different game that I really just kind of want to focus on my favorite parts of this game, which is T1 Node Wars and playing Guardian and hanging out with the boys. I mean, that's basically it. So that's where I'm focused, and staying educated on what's happening with the game, you know, with a PvP set of glasses on is obviously extremely important. So I know how to deal with mechanics and upcoming stuff and all that good shit. But as far as trying out new classes and, you know, being some slave meta and stuff like that, meta slave, sorry, I can't, I'm so tired. I'm just worn down. And so I'm just trying to make BDO fun again, you know, for myself. And that means showing up for war and having a good time and making fun of D Mike's height.
I think a lot of people who did seasons, you think that's a season thing?
What?
Do you think you're tired of like new classes and stuff just because the number of classes recently, or more because of seasons, or both?
I have re-rolled. I think the class that I've been on the longest was Awakened Warrior before CC changes. And that was 1.5 years. So I've played Mawa, Warrior, Striker, and Mystic, Wizard, Witch in the wrong order, Guardian. I've played 7 classes in a major way. Mm-hmm. And every time I kind of reset, I got to kind of start from scratch. And so I don't have the brain capacity, the time, or really the drive to want to try to learn the nuance of all these different or new classes. And as they get patched and nerfed and buffed and left and right, it's exhausting. And so like the class that's kind of moving the least right now is really Guardian. Like they're fixing a couple little things, but it seems that they're just kind of happy with where it is and what it's doing. Mm-hmm. So
that's fair.
I'm really cozy where I'm at. I have a good understanding of my kit. I'm not the best player, but I'm trying to just, instead of focusing on that stuff, just get better at what I've got. And so that's why I'm not trying out Sage. That's why I could give a fuck if you know, they brought in Scion from League of Legends is probably the only thing that would get me to change classes in this game.
Bro, I
feel like I need something different. Like Succession Warrior just doesn't have enough to it, and Awakened Warrior, I feel like I'm capped by my hardware or my optimization at this point. Like, I feel like if I'm going to get better at Awakened Warrior, it's going to involve nothing that has to do with like some amount of gameplay, but mostly it's going to involve like me sifting through Reddit guides for 80 hours trying to figure out how to get the game to run better. And which just I don't have the motivation to do that either. Awakened Sage is something that I felt like I could pick up just from playing. Like just from playing it, I can discover different combos and chains intuitively. When I played Hush, I had a really good time playing Hosh, but at the same time, I felt like I needed other people to tell me what the class could do, like what things would chain together. I didn't feel like I could just figure a lot of that shit out on my own, or if I did, it was going to take a really long time. With Awakened Sage, I feel like everything was pretty intuitive. I think that's why I'm enjoying playing it, because I'm kind of like able to create my own combos. I don't have to just follow someone else's guide. I definitely don't see it being like the new meta, though. I think everyone's going to stay on Succession. I think it just has way more going for it.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
The more I play Awakening and I see the damage of Succession and stuff like that, I feel like Succession's damage is just so cranked to a whole nother level that I don't think the Awakening can compete on that. But it does compete on fun and value, which I think is almost more important.
Yeah, it's actually really fun to play. That's what keeps me coming back to it. Even though I feel kind of vulnerable in a lot of matchups, it's just really fucking fun to play this class. It's really satisfying to get catches and to do the combos.
Mm-hmm. I actually, there was 2 people, I outgeared them by a lot, but it felt good because I actually was able to kill them. It's the first time in PvP in like probably a month that I was able to kill people, and I 2v1'd them, bro. Felt great.
Good for you, Potion.
I know, it was the highlight of my week, really. Yeah, honestly, it was.
We forgot about it in
I'm
the
getting
opening.
outgeared at...
What's that?
I'm currently finding like a 700 gear score Kuno at Polly's Forest. I have no idea what he's doing here, but he's just absolutely one-shotting me on my Sage.
Let's see. So Sage got some fixes this week. Makes him feel a lot better. Try them out if you have like some Oasis weapons. See if you like them. Maybe make a trial character. See if you like the changes. They did some add-on fixes this week in the patch, which are extremely enlightening to someone who's ignorant of PvP and how this stuff works. So the skill add-ons, they did a change where if you're getting, if you do a skill add-on and it buffs yourself, it's buffing your character, or you get HP regen off it, then if you hit someone who's blocking your attack in PvP, you will still get the HP regen off it, and your character will still get buffed. But if it's a debuff to your opponent and your opponent blocks the attack, then the debuff will not be applied to your opponent as a skill add-on or skill enhancement. I'm not sure if this means this is... They said skill enhancement in the patch notes, and so I'm not sure if this means the enhancement to the skill itself, if it's an APDP, or if they're talking about skill add-ons and there's a bad translation.
Yeah, it's like the add-ons that you go to for the skill instructor, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah,
I guess the big ones specifically are like if you try to do a DP or an evasion shred against someone who's blocking before today's patch, that would work. And after today's patch, supposedly, if they block, those debuffs will not land.
Which I think is really cool, and it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Maybe I kind of wish there was some place in game you could read this, like a help menu or something that would pop up, like, because I feel like this is going to be like trade knowledge, or what do you call it? Tribal knowledge, like after this week's patch, because it won't be in game anywhere to read it. You'll have to like experiment and figure it out. But I do kind of like that this change, it makes sense a lot, you know, because if you block an attack, you don't want to get a debuff even though you blocked the attack. It's like the whole point of blocking the attack was not to get any type of punishment.
Well, especially since your block scales off of your DP and your evasion. If someone's debuffing those things, they're making your block weaker as they're hitting your block.
And that's one of the big decisions you have to make, right? In a lot of cases is when to use your frontal guard, when to use your block. And like when you get slowed, you know, or when you think a slow's coming out, or vice versa, you're trying to slow somebody, you know, you don't hit them in a frontal guard. So, you know, kind of makes sense.
Like, do you think this is going to change any of the ways people have to engage in PvP? As like, I know you guys do a lot more of that than I do, so I don't really know what this will impact, or if it will change any gameplay styles.
I don't think it has I mean, I think it has a bit of an impact, just as, like we said, as far as, you know, not being able to debuff someone through their block quite as easily. But in terms of changing the way people engage, I mean, probably not. I don't think most people were like waiting to land a mandatory debuff before engaging.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Most people just grab you and kill you in 2 seconds. They don't need a whole lot of setup.
One of the other things they did this week is they did horse skill odds. so you can actually see the odds when you are rolling your horse now, which I think is really awesome.
For like T7s and 8s and stuff.
No, it's for the when you
for
use the
skills.
pay to win. Yeah, when you use the pay to win, you see the exact odds. So you'll see like hind kick is 12%, and like S roll is like 1% or something like that.
Oh man, is that something we wanted?
Well, I think it allows people to make a more educated
this
choice.
is something we needed.
Yeah,
it's something they needed a long
possibly,
time ago.
but
I mean,
wanted.
Well, it depends on what type of player you are. If you're just a pure gambler, then maybe not. But I think for transparency's sake, it makes a lot of sense, and also it allows people to make the smartest decision when they're re-rolling off a bad skill. They can always choose the one that's going to have the highest chance of being learned when they in the future, because they'll know what the odds are.
Yeah, it allows people to see exactly how scammed they're getting when they buy these coupons. So, I mean,
yeah, maybe after this, the follow-up change will be they'll make them all even.
Yeah,
they'll just make them all even after this. But I think that's really nice because a lot of people would spend like they would go out there and like I'm just trying to get one skill. The one thing I hope to see on this is I hope that the hope skill. That's what I was trying to say. The hope skill actually you can see the changes live. So if you hope 3 times for the skill, then you can see the increase in odds. Because that's something that I've always been curious about if that actually works or not. Like or how much it affects it. Like does it increase it by 1% every time, or is it like there's a percentage of a percentage? So is it like goes from 1% to 0.1%? Like is this like I'm really curious how that works. Let's see what else is there. The practice cannon got added, so this is actually really cool for Node Wars, and I think this is another quality of life for people who are going to be the cannoneer of the Node War or want to become a cannon person in Node Wars. They can now rent a cannon from I think it's one of the farms nearby, and then you can go practice shoot with the cannon nearby, and it shows like a targeter, like where the shot landed, and like.
There's like a shooting range now. Is that what it is?
I think you can just rent a cannon and take it wherever you want and shoot it.
There's pings on the map, I think.
Yeah, it's like a ping. It like shows like a ping where it hit.
Oh, okay. So they're like having a mechanic for it now. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's sort of like if you want to train for it a little bit, or if you have someone new and you're like, hey, we want to show you this before you go out. And
you've been able to rent a cannon forever. A practice cannon has existed for a long ass time in this game. But if they have like mechanics for actually seeing where it landed or a fucking target range or something, that's cool.
Yeah, I guess that's the new thing then is the target range, because I didn't know you could rent one. But I think that's a pretty good change, at least the cannon indicator. They also did alchemy bonus quest, which I feel like these are bittersweet. What they added is a series of quests where as you're doing alchemy, there's a chance you'll just earn a bonus quest that will give you bonus alchemy materials. And I kind of like the idea of getting these bonus quests that you just kind of automatically complete as you're doing alchemy. I kind of like that. The thing I don't like about it is that the rewards you get is you get alchemy rewards for doing alchemy, and it gets this like feedback loop where you're not helping out any other economy. And I wish that this was an encouragement to help other economies in need. Like, let's say another economy needed energy, right? Maybe it would give you some type of energy regen or something. Like, I would like to see it where it had a feedback loop with a different economy rather than a feedback loop with the same one.
I understand what you're saying, but I think it's funny because like all of alchemy's per hour is just strictly based on RNG. But hasn't cooking had this forever? Aren't they just like putting what they have into cooking into?
Yeah, I think cooking's out of
it feels kind of like they don't know what to do, and this is like an easy thing that they've implemented in other areas, and they're like, let's just do that for alchemy as well.
Yeah.
So
I don't really see the end point of it, because alchemy and cooking, I've come to the conclusion, is always going to be low profit as long as you can buy everything from the marketplace. Because there's always going to be that guy who's like working from home, and he's like, well, $30 million an hour is better than like fishing AFK. And he'll just do that all day long, making $30 million an hour, and he'll just drive down the price of whatever food that other people are trying to cook for $100 million an hour, and it'll just inevitably everything will just end up being the same cooking price per hour because of that. Unless there's like unless you have to get something on your own, as long as you can buy it from the marketplace is what I'm saying, right?
Whoever's cooking in this game right now is going through some shit.
Yeah, I think they could make Imperial Alchemy a lot better. Probably just remove the cap on Imperial turn-ins for both skills. There's a lot of like easy things that they could do. I don't think that getting like some free traces is the answer.
Yeah, I don't really think so either. And one of the things that has been an interesting trade-off is because they actually fixed the or they changed the byproducts of cooking and alchemy, and because of this, you can't get milk anymore no one chooses beer anymore when they do cooking, right? They always choose CP or they choose milk. They never choose beer, and so because of this, beer has skyrocketed in price for Belnos mills, and all wheat products have sold out. So we're in this weird spot where almost everything that you need for cooking is sold out. Like quite literally, like all meat is sold out. Like even logs are almost sold out. Rough stone is sold out. Like all the things that you make with meat is sold out on the marketplace.
The thing I've been stressed out most about with cooking is actually wheat. As far as like node production and stuff, I can never get enough wheat, dude. I have like extra potatoes. I've got the sweet potato node going. I've got all this shit going, and I can't keep up with the amount of Balanos meals turn-ins that I have, and I'm not even at 400 CP. So I think when they increased, double the output and workload, they needed to, a couple of these nodes, Moreland says it almost every single week, they need to look at the node system again, but cooking was real bad. And the profit just isn't there to go out and cut your own meat. They need to increase the cap on meat prices at least, but then
the profit's good. I feel like for me personally, I think the profit's fine. The issue is I just run out of energy, so I'm just going to pick the highest income activity, and I can't gather 12 hours in a day. I can only gather like 2.5, and then I'm done. I'm out of energy, and I have to wait for my energy to come back. So it's sort of like they've sort of caused their own issue because of this.
Yeah. They did that with a lot of things in this game.
I do think that one solution to this would eventually be being able to gather, being able to gather potatoes efficiently, being able to gather wheat efficiently or something. Like if they made a gathering spot, they could actually gather this efficiently. That might be a solution to it, depending on the amount you could gather.
They could easily double the output of meat gathering too. There's a bunch of stuff they could do, and it'd still just be fine.
Yeah. I wish to fix energy first, though, because I would actually go out and start. The whole reason I quit gathering is because I just ran out of energy. It's just like this. If I can't do it 12 hours in a day, then I just won't do it because I'll do something else I can do 12 hours.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things that they do. I mean, this Oasis event could probably get changed or end soon, right? Like, I feel like that's been going on a little too long.
Wow. How long has that been going on? Like over a year now? Destroying the economy? I do be fair that if without that event, without the Oasis chest, there would be no sharps and hards in the marketplace. It's literally the only supply of sharps and hards because no one's gathering because they don't have energy.
Well, I feel like people also aren't gathering because the price of so many things would crash by the Oasis boxes, though. I mean, like the Monos gems are actually worth something. You could gather a bunch of those doing meat or whatever, and now they're just everything has crashed so hard after getting all this free shit. I mean,
I think a good example of what the problem is people are doing Red Battle for 200 energy, and 200 energy is literally enough for 20 minutes of gathering. Like, I think that kind of, like, shows a little bit about how much of an energy crisis we're in for, like, gathering. Like, I feel like that can't be understated, because all the prices of the meat started going up after they took away high-quality wine. I mean, we're really all that problem started with.
Is that just a problem with live skilling in general right now?
Energy?
Have they just, I mean, just like gathering, I think people would still do gathering despite energy problems if it were more competitive. But I feel like the last year of the game, all they've done is just make grinding better and better and better.
Well, it's like
even like a year and a half of the game, really.
It's like 300 mil an hour, like 200 to 300 mil an hour, depending on your activity. It's
only
good.
if you invest a fuckload into your monos, though.
Like I was making like 180 mil an hour, and I only had like tri monos and tech close. Like
the only reason that worked is because you sold your gear, you sold your Manos gear at some point. The ROI on getting like Tet Manos gear is unbelievably unforgiving in most scenarios. You have to do like every life skill to get that money back if you do like basic math on that shit.
Well, the same thing is true for your gear for like grinding, right? It's the same thing. But people just don't consider that because you can use it for PvP also.
Yeah, exactly. People see their gear grind as their overall progress. They see their life skilling progress. Unless someone is just completely against PvP, they see their life skilling as something that's auxiliary to their PvP or their combat progression. And
there's no value besides
right.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, like life skilling needs to be more interesting if it's going to be its own end goal.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
there's just not that many cool things you can do with life skills anymore. I mean, there's only like 2 or 3 life skills that are even worth fucking around with. Like nodes are dead, manufacturing's dead. It's just
I mean,
I
feel
that
like
cool of a thing to do in the game anymore. There's not that many puzzles to solve.
There aren't many puzzles to solve, but that's kind of true for PvE as well. I really feel like if they fixed energy, at least some people start dabbling in it again. I feel like right now, like without energy being fixed, like you're basically saying, hey, would you like to gather for 2.5 hours, or would you like to go ahead and grind for as long as you want? And people just like, well, I'll always choose the grind option for as long as I want.
I've always held that this game is supposed to be a healthy balance of all activities. You know, I think when you have the extra energy from your other characters that you bottle up, then you can go do a big grind or a big gathering thing. And then when you need to recharge that, you go out and grind. I think if you're just doing one thing, you're either going to get burnt out or hit a wall.
Sure, I agree with like the burnout or hit a wall or something like that. I agree with that. The thing is that players should be able to choose for that, like what they want to do, and not be forced to do it. Because, you know, if you want players to not be burnt out, and you want them to do a variety of tasks, then you nudge them in that direction by giving them incentives to do that rather than forcing them. And right now, it's a forced thing rather than an option thing.
I used to love life skilling in this game just for the sake of life skilling. Like there were months and months that would go by where I wouldn't grind at all. I would just look for things that I could do in the market, recipes that people hadn't caught on to yet, new manufacturing things, ways of min-maxing my CP and my passive income. Like that was all I did in this game, and grinding was just like an afterthought. And now I don't feel any desire to do any of that at all. Like it's really sad, actually.
I agree. I got into a big arc of cooking. I think I'm Guru 37 or 38 or something like that. I really enjoyed it. The way you could batch out the work and just kind of sit on it for a while and stuff. I thought that was all great. And then that would kind of dovetail into grinding. So I'd have like a life skilling day basically. I normally did it on Saturday when we used to do the podcast. Just kind of knock it all out and wait for Siege or whatever. And now it's like, it's just such a painful waste of time. I'd have to go to like fucking where? That new place in Dregan to make as little money as I make per hour life skilling. So it just...
Wait, what?
You only make like 200 mil an hour or something life skilling. Right, so you'd have to where can I go grind for 200 mil an hour? I'd actually have to Thornwood Forest, probably not even.
Well, I mean, you can make
isn't worth the time.
If you get scattered trees, it's like 300 mil an hour. That's roughly what it is right now with high gear. And like gathering meat is like depends on the grind spot. Is like 250. It's kind of where it caps out at.
But I'm mostly PvP, so if I'm going out and gathering trees for money, I'm not selling 3/4 of the value of it, Yeah. I don't know. I never liked gathering trees. It was always weird being in Ash Forest. I never felt like I was making money, even though I technically was, because I was just eating the Kafirs. I don't know. Skilling isn't fun. It's not interesting.
Yeah. I think the main thing
there's
for
a
me,
very weird subsect of people that like it right now.
I just wish there was a option to do it. It's not like I feel like it's good right now. I just want the option to be able to choose to do it or not do it. And right now, like, because of the energy limitations, like, it's not an option anymore of what I want to do. I don't have that choice. If I wanted to, like, diversify and, like, say, hey, today I'm going to make 50 million less an hour, but I'm just going to go take an easy day of chopping down some trees, and it'd be nice and relaxing. Like, I want that as an option. And right now, because of energy, I have to pay to win if I want to do that. And it's like what was the math on that? I think it's like $1.50 an hour on average for energy pots to do that, where a loot scroll is 75 cents an hour. If you get a good deal on a loot scroll.
Damn, even paying to win is more efficient for grinding.
And then with the value pack, it's even crazier than that. It's way better value if you look at value pack and the loot score from that. So I don't know. It's just like I feel like it's been neglected for a long time, and they're not really doing anything. Like the fact that there's been an energy issue for a year. I mean, if you just look at the marketplace and look at materials, like everything's sold out. Like and like the fact that the economy is being propped up by an Oasis event for Sharps and Hards. There's so many problems with it. They got to start looking at it, or the economy will have less meaning that it already does. Like the economy right now in BDO has been suffering for like the last year. Like the central marketplace was really good, but like they needed to do some additional changes to the economy in order to keep the game feeling fun and interesting, and they didn't really do that.
I think it highlights some deficiencies within the game if you're paying attention to it. I don't know if there's something, profoundly wrong with the economy of BDO necessarily, but I think the devs could very easily use something as great as Essential Market to figure out, their actions and the reactions, but they're not. I don't know if I'd categorize that the economy is broken. The devs are just making swooping changes to the game that are not making other things viable.
Let me mention some examples. Like there's 1 million pre-orders on lion meat. There's literally all meat is sold out in the marketplace that you use in regular recipes. Wheat is basically sold out on the marketplace. Like
I don't think that's an economy thing necessarily.
Well,
I
if
think
you can't buy it, then it's essentially doesn't exist.
It is weird that those items are capped out arbitrarily the way they are. It's like you literally, even if you find a good way to make money gathering, it's like, no, you can't. We're going to make it so you can't make that money.
But then I think the worst thing you can do because of the cap is sell it. Okay, so maybe it is like something that's wrong. Maybe if it was a little bit more of a free market, but I think it's a better tool for the developers to go, hey, wow, we should do something about this.
Sure.
But unfortunately, not one of them has logged on to the game since the Heidel Ball.
They logged on before the Heidel Ball, logged out afterwards.
Just so they can pan back and turn around and go,
look, we play BDO.
I wish I had a GIF of that.
Speaking of which, we need to look at the fourth quarter report that they did from Pearl Abyss and see how they think it's doing. That is definitely out now, and we should definitely look into that. So
does it show how much money they made?
Yeah, here it is. I got it right here. I printed it out.
Oh, I like this. I love it.
Okay.
For you guys can see, he's holding up some scribbles from his kid.
Yeah. No, this is artwork from my son, asshole. So this
is beautiful.
This right here is their plan for BDO on PC. This right here is how angry they are that BDO Mobile isn't making more money. And this right here is the development ideas. So that was the fourth quarter meeting. I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm really curious this year.
I
want to know more about their Crimson Desert plans, because they said in the quarter 3 that half their team is working on Crimson Desert right now, which is kind of crazy considering they have so many developers and they have console, mobile, PC, Shadow Arena.
Wait, what are they all doing? Isn't that like a single player game? How many devs take to make a single player RPG?
It's really hard to make a game when nobody plays video games. They need a lot of manpower on that one.
It takes about twice the effort or 3 times the effort because none of them play. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like, the one thing I've noticed from the last Crimson Desert trailer they did, I think it was during E3 or something like that. A lot of the assets are like 2D like props in the background. They're not actually like real 3D trees. If you look close, they're not the real 3D trees. They're just like 2D trees that rotate with the environment. They're like rotating. It's like and it's like, yeah, it's coming out like early next year. Don't worry about it. Like
Mario Kart. Nice.
Yep. I guess going back into the video a little bit, they updated Lurio Island so that kayak boats can sail through it now with auto pathing. So that's really nice for those barders. Huge changes. No more boat ship collisions at Lurio Island. They can all sail through there now. So that's good.
I wonder how long that took them to coordinate to get that update.
I'm surprised it even got fixed.
Took them a couple weeks. They were pretty quick.
Yeah.
We're gonna fix Lario Island, and then like a week or two later, they fixed it.
This is actually pretty cool. They added a world map change so you can see your stable. So you go to the world map, and then at the bottom there's a little horse icon now, like a horseshoe, and you can click on that, and it'll actually show your horses in every stable, and you can actually scroll through there, which is really, really cool and actually extremely helpful. I wish it showed the inventory. That's like now that I've had a taste of it, I really want to see my inventory also.
Whoa! I didn't even see this.
Yeah. But it's actually really neat because I can tell I have 42 in Caltheon territory, and I have 0 in Serendia for some reason. It's kind of neat.
You have 42 horses?
Well, I think they're all wagons.
What are you gonna do? What are you doing with those?
Well, I was doing a Ponzi scheme apparently like 2 years ago for spirit crystals, but it was destruction, and I bought them at 40,000 at 450,000 a piece. And well, that turned out pretty well actually. So I pulled out some of those and was like, "Wow, I forgot these were even in here," and sold them this week.
Jesus Christ!
The reason I actually went there is because I'm saving all my weapons that I get from what's this place called? Baragi Din. I'm saving all my weapons so that I know exactly the amount of weapons that I got while grinding 1 million trash loot. And so then I can divide that, and when you say then I can know exactly how much trash loot I get per little spirit spawn dude. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I could take screenshots, but I just forget about them. So, yeah, I like the stable change. It makes me really think that they should do the same thing with storage. Like now that I've seen this, instead of going to Heidel storage and seeing like just Heidel storage, like, sorry, when you go to Heidel storage in town, you get like that little drop down menu and you see like all the different storages in there. I feel like that should be part of the world map now instead of the Heidel storage, you know? I feel like it should be kind of reversed. Because right now, if you go to a town, you can see the town storage by clicking on the town. But I feel like you should just have like a storage button you can click on, and you should be able to look through all of them at the stable. I think that makes, now that I've seen this with the stable, I feel like I need this also with storage. That'd make a lot more sense.
I would like to be able to search all storages at once with the search function. That'd be nutty.
Oh, that would be so good. I can find out where my, like, I don't know, my EXP scrolls are at or whatever I was looking for.
Whatever I'm looking for, dude.
You're always looking for something, man. It's just like...
Always.
You'd be like, man, where did I put those, like Kaposha ring? I want to use it for a basalt. You're like, I have no idea.
It's always somewhere.
What was another change they made this week for the live servers? Oh, all right. So I need to talk to you guys about this. They did a pre-order fix where if the pre-order was at if the price of that was at max price and people put a pre-order, I always thought it was random forever. I thought it was always random, but they said they did a fix where it wasn't random as intended, and they fixed it to be random. So I'm a little confused.
Do you remember when we got in a big argument about this?
Yeah.
An hour and a half? Yeah.
I'm just very confused now. And I guess technically, based on the argument, I said I tested it and I knew it was random. And you said you tested it and you said it was not random. And so I guess we could technically both be right because we have no idea when it bugged, right?
You were definitely 100,000% wrong.
What? It's random at max price when you pre-order it.
At absolute max, it is random. Yeah.
Yeah, at absolute max. Yeah, below that's not. It's an order below that. I thought that was a really interesting change, though. And so why did
we agree?
Yeah, I guess that was easier than I thought. How long has this been bugged? Did they say how long this has been bugged?
So it's very unclear from the way they described it. It sounds like it was only broken this last week. That I think with the April 21st maintenance, they broke so that things at max price were not like absolute max were not random. But it's unclear because max price could mean absolute max, but it could also mean relative max. So I don't know. I was pretty confused by that note. There's several things that it could mean. It could mean that they changed the way that relative max orders work to not be first come first serve, but probably they didn't do that. We could actually test fairly easily though.
So does this mean that if I pre-order milk, there's a chance I'll get my pre-order early?
No. It has. That is how it has always been. That's what we just established. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure that we're on the same page here.
Yep.
Yes. Any item that is at absolute max, the orders are filled randomly.
Okay. Really strange how this happened. I kind of wonder how these bugs creep in and then they creep back out.
So do they.
There's a lot of changes that happen to the markets that don't get put in the patch, and it really makes me wonder if they are done accidentally or not. Things that have to do with like the algorithm and how fast prices adjust and things like that. I think there's a whole bunch of code that's not working correctly that the devs are not aware of. And when they do maintenance like this, they go, "Oh, gee, I wonder how long that's been broken."
It's only been broken a week, for sure. For sure.
They seem to be finding this a little bit more often since they've started publishing. Not just our region, but all regions. Coincidence?
Maybe they're just making an effort to actually talk about them now, where previously they just swept them underneath the rug.
It's probably just coincidence.
Yeah, I don't know. It does seem like they're doing a lot of these quality of life type fixes, though, where before they... like a change like this seemed to never happen before. They'd just be in the game forever. But it seems like now they're listening to feedback, because slow stacking is getting fixed. They're nerfing Wizard and Witch a little bit. I mean, it's not like they're doing perfect changes or anything, but it seems like they're generally making an effort to kind of like a little bit listen to their player base. And maybe that's where
I don't want to be
from.
like a self-centered, fat, ignorant American, but it does seem that like ever since we got on board, that we're like the last missing piece of the puzzle, and shit has been working a little bit better.
We have fixed Pearlbis.
Well, I think they also got really embarrassed when the whole Black Star thing happened, because it's like, whoopsies, we don't understand our own game. We promise we'll try and let that happen again. And there's other things. They did some other pass across every class. I think it was in today's patch or this week's patch where something was wrong with the way core skills. I don't remember. Do you remember exactly what the change was?
It was talking about the skill enhancement thing. I thought they mentioned it there.
They went through. No, there was like core skills had like the wrong ranges or something. That they changed it for like 6 or 7 different classes. There was a similar bug. So it sounds like they probably caught this bug with one class and then actually did a full pass on every other class to see who else it was broken for, instead of just ignoring it.
They caught 11 different core skills that had the same bug or a similar bug.
Yeah.
What was the bug?
Fixed an issue where using the following skills would summon an extra summon for a striker. And then for Dark Knight, it was
it did the same thing for...
Yeah. For Spear Hunt, is fixed an issue where using the skill while in main hand stance would cause it to trigger in place. Another one with core skills was for Wizard was using the following core skills would summon an extra summon. So Chill Wave and Aqua Gel Explosion core skill. Would that cause more damage?
I believe so.
Yes, it would.
Sea Burial was apparently double summoning if you had core Sea Burial.
Yeah, which had 2 of them for Thunderstorm.
A lot of fun shenanigans.
Equilibrium. And
Thunderstorm would have extra summons?
Yeah, an extra summon. It said and.
Holy fuck.
Zerker for blasting improved the skill to combo more naturally into flow seismic blast. Apparently wasn't doing that properly like the regular one was.
Oh, it was a thing for years? Oh, okay. So that was just how it was. All right.
Well, I mean, core skills haven't been out for years, but good call.
Yeah,
I do like this when they find something, they kind of go through and they check all of them now. It seems like that's a good... Like, they did that with there, and they did it with skill add-ons, where they went through every single one and kind of just made sure everything was working properly. So at least the game's, I guess, functioning properly, or closer to properly.
Well, I do want to say, outside of South America, I think PA self-publishes everywhere, right? And at least for us, I do want to kind of give myself a shout out as a big fat I told you so.
Yeah.
This is basically exactly what I thought it would be like. Everything's a little bit better. They're more responsive to our problems, and I think they're starting to do some triage on a couple of things. So, fuck you, D Jules.
I think they're trying harder, and I don't know if them self-publishing was the reason they're trying harder, but I think it was like the catalyst for it, and without it, they would have been kind of in the same rut they've been in for a long time. Like,
I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't think like self-publishing like was magical fix or anything. It's just like sort of like woke them up and they're like, wait, what? What do we do? What? And like I feel like from there, like they started listening better, and like you said, I feel like they're going down a good path, and I don't think that would have happened otherwise. It's unfortunate that it took a server swap for that to kind of start and initiate, but it's good to see that for sure.
I do hope that they balance out this, whatever they're doing for like the lag compensation thing is hot trash. It's just, I think if we do really have better servers, that it's highlighted that the lag compensation thing is dog shit. So it's so frustrating. And now that we have these icons too, it's literally mocks you. It just literally fucking mocks you. So sorry, I didn't mean to derail, but
I mean, it's true. Like you get knocked, you have a super icon on your screen and you get knocked down. You have an iframe and you get CC'd or grabbed. You're like, what's going on here? Like it just makes it more obvious. And I do think that's something. I do think make a good point.
I hope they use it for something. I hope it's not just frustration for frustration's sake. And they go, hey, maybe they hire 2 devs to play the game every once in a while. And they go, hey, this kind of sucks.
What else they're thinking? Oh yeah, I don't know. I haven't noticed any difference. They said they optimized the frequency of memory usage to provide better gameplay experience to adventurers. I assume this is talking about RAM and not video memory, but I have no idea.
That's big of you to say.
I don't know. My game has had a couple pretty wild crashes since this week's patch. I haven't actually had any crashes in a few months, but I've been noticing it feels like a memory leak where like my game will start to run slower and slower, and I'll start to get these stutters, and then suddenly I'll just get a stutter that crashes my entire game.
That sounds like the old auto range bug.
So,
do you still have an AMD card?
No.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know then. That's really weird.
Got rid of it.
It does sound like the old auto range bug though, where like your pets are picking up loot.
It's new this week, so.
And
no, this is during war. I would like get hit by an ability, and my frames would just drop to 0. Like my screen would freeze for a second, and then it'd be fine, and then my screen would freeze for a second, and it would freeze for like 3 seconds, and then my game would just crash.
So you get demolished so hard in large scale that it breaks your game.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably like one ability, the one obscure ability that like I don't know, so like a suck mystic was using or something.
I know Awakening Sork
just crashes your game.
Awakening Sork, when they remastered her like appearance of her abilities, they drop all my frames by half when I use a violation, half FPS every single time. Not all of them are broken, but a lot of the ones they remastered on the Sorceress, they just didn't optimize. They didn't do the optimization pass.
At risk of saying this for the 50th millionth time on this podcast, like they didn't optimize the Awakening skills at fucking all, right? Like it's just an absolute joke. So
it's really sad because they did a pretty good job on the succession optimization. I felt like most of them looked good and they didn't really tear up my FPS or anything. So
tear up your FPS.
That's it for what I have for the BDO patch notes. Is there anything else in the patch notes you guys wanted to bring up that I missed?
I think it was pretty light this week. I'm trying to think of what else we had.
We already did Global Labs.
Yeah. I'm excited for next week. I hope that Sage starts to feel a little more complete. I still feel like he's missing something though. I'm like right on the verge of tagging. There's just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm 1 or 2 Sage patches away from tagging, but it just doesn't feel like it's there yet.
Increase the damage of Shift Q by 20% and make it where it casts twice as fast.
Hopefully you're talking about Guardian.
on Sage Awakening.
Honestly, yeah, like a faster cast speed on Shift Q might be enough. There needs to be some way to disengage that doesn't involve swapping to Pre-Awakening and casting Rift Chain. I think if I had that, I would tag this character. I think that's what it's missing.
You can. This is very toxic mobility, but you can do a forward. Well, I guess it's not super armor, so you can't do that. I guess you could do form shift and gal with form shift.
Yeah, that's what I do. Is I use a Pre-Awaken ability and then I Rift Chain out of it. But you're still a sitting duck. You're sitting duck if you do Shift Q. You can do WF, but it's not protected, so you usually end up getting CC'd on accident anyways. I don't know.
I guess you could target somebody with WE, so that really wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. That's a kind of a problem.
Like, he's got good movement, but he doesn't have the ability to just fuck off of a fight if you're losing or if you need to heal. Like, I feel like once I'm engaged, that's it. I can't escape.
Man, I wish you could just play Awakened Warrior, honestly. I think that would be like, I'd watch so much more of your stream, no cap. Like, if you were fucking gaming on kids with Awakened Warrior.
They said on the December, like, Caltheon Ball or whatever it was, they're going to fix FPS equals DPS, and I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it.
Yeah,
It's
your
never
dad's
gonna
telling
happen.
you he's going to show up to your basketball game. I've missed every single one, but I'm coming to this one.
I believe. All right. For the events this week, they have a few crappy events. They have attendance rewards for Sage Awakening. They don't really have any quest to level them up because they did all of that with the Succession. So they give us attendance rewards instead, and they're actually pretty good. They give you a skill preset coupon, which is pretty nice. Ancient Spirit Dust, Artist Memories, 8 inventory slots, Life Skill Book, which I don't really know why Sage would care about that, but we got one. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here. Oh yeah, we get enough Shakatu seals to gamble one time at Shakatu. See if you get 1 billion silver out of a chest. And 100 fail stack.
Potion, the gambling and the drinking's got to stop, dude. Just save up for the Trimanos and pawn it off, bro. Don't gamble. Don't gamble.
Oh, it's all about the gamble.
No,
I stopped enhancing.
For two in the bush.
I stopped doing gambling with enhancing, and so I had to have another fill in for it. It's got to happen. The other events they did this week is they have plant a tulip in your garden. I don't really remember what this event is even about. I kind of forgot. Let me look it up.
I think you turn the tulip in and you get one of these. You can turn in shit. I think you can turn in special meals for loot scrolls. That's a decent event. The rest of these I looked at and I just instantly forgot what they were.
So you can turn in normal Serendia meal, no, special Serendia meal, special Calthea meal, and special Belnos. 3 of one of those 3. And you get 3 loot scrolls and 10 memory fragments. And you can do the quest weekly until it's over. But I would assume those are all sold out now. So good luck getting them. And then during the event period, it says there's another quest here. I don't know what you have to do for it, but the rewards are Shakatu Box, Advice of Destiny, Advice of Safety, Valk's Cry, 5 Artist Memories. Doesn't seem too bad. I wonder what the planting the tulip gets you. I have no idea.
I don't think they. I think we're gonna see a long chain of like really good attendance rewards and free shit for a long time. I don't know if that was their plan, but you know, NA and EU, I think we're a culture of people that really like, you know, just free little tokens shoved down our throat pretty often. I bet they're seeing a massive return on giving us, you know, the good stuff for free, and then, you know, having all these pop-ups on our screen to buy more.
I'm kind of.
So
Do you think those pop-ups work? Do you think people see those pop-ups and go, yeah?
I'm sorry. Have you played Raid Shadow Legends? Forget everything you know about every RPG.
Yeah,
if you didn't have to click through 20,000 pop-ups, if you didn't have to click through 20,000, if they wouldn't have 20,000 pop-ups, if they didn't absolutely fucking work, absolutely, 100%. I have bought most
I
of the
just don't
time
understand.
that I've bought something has been from one of those. Hey, there's a sale. Hey, there's a sale. Hey, there's a sale.
I hate them so much.
$120 worth of stuff for $19.99.
I feel like if I have
really?
a value pack, I shouldn't get any pop-ups. That's my condition. If I have a value pack, don't give me any stupid pop-ups.
If there's an occasional pop-up for an actual good deal, then I'll buy it. But slamming repeated, I just don't even look at them. I literally do not read the text when I see one of those. I instantly click it off.
I don't think I'm buying a value pack until they give it a PvP incentive. This is the first time in 4.5 years that I haven't had a value pack active.
How are you making any money? Oh, you're just playing. You're not even playing BDO though right now. You're playing a little bit, but you're not playing. You're mainly playing.
I am dedicating all of my time to the success of my T1 Node War Guild.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
You need any help with that?
Remember when it was just you and me that was listening to the shot calls, dying on the ping, inting on the base 2 days ago?
Yeah, let me know if you need any help.
With what?
Anything. I offered to help with diplomacy the other days. You guys just ignored me, and then you complained that I'm not helping. So
I actually did.
A little unsure.
The only help
they had in some really small text down here, but you can turn in the event tulip for 1 million gold.
ToeCab messaged me for politics. I'm the reason we had Pico as an ally. The only hope I really need from you is to have me replace D-Mike. Thank you.
Why didn't you should have just taken over shot calls? What's he gonna do about it?
That's true. He's only 5'2".
Yo, they did this field boss event where 4 field bosses spawn at the same time, and you get their health is shared among all servers like a world boss.
I heard that PvP's not disabled, and I kind of want to go just for that reason.
That sounds awesome, actually. That's way better than going for the field bosses.
Yeah, dude, I miss field boss PvP. Holy fuck, that was fun.
You'd always get that one clip of some dude going in there and killing like 20 people and going instantly red.
Yeah, or just camping barcode on the node for like 30 minutes straight because the bosses used to take a really long time to die.
Can you read guild chat?
Do I have to hide it?
No.
So they offer the regular loot of a field boss. So it is absolutely not worth the going to for a field boss. Maybe 100, 150 mil. But the PP would definitely be worth it.
I think it's probably worth going to. I just can't, I don't know, when things are scheduled, the times that they pick, I'm just never, I don't know what it is, I'm just never playing this game at the right time, dude.
Yeah. It seems a little strange to me. I
It's
feel like
always
they should have
in the morning before I get on or late at night when I'm asleep. I don't know.
I feel like what would have been a way cooler event is just all field bosses. There's spawns 2 field bosses at the same time. So you just have 2 Begs, 2 Red Nose, 2 Dim Trees to fight. Just fuck you up sometimes. That's why I think they should have done that.
Yeah, I was hoping all the bosses were going to spawn simultaneously. I think that would have been good.
Yeah, the tulip is worth 1 million silver. So I guess don't bother with growing a tulip in your farm.
There's got to be something else. It can't just be the 1 million silver.
Well, once you grow a tulip, you can do a quest.
I have to look the event up?
It gives you. There's a quest that gives you 50 million gold, 10 Caphras, a Shakti box, enhancement helper kit 2. But the tulip itself, you trade into an NPC for 1 million gold.
I think it was 1 million gold.
I think you have to grow the tulip though in order to complete the quest. I do feel like the tulip's a little lackluster. You should be able to put it in your house like a flower, like a furniture item.
Shut the fuck up.
We need more furniture items in this game.
Oh fuck! Stop.
Oh yeah, and then the last event this week was playtime rewards. So they give you more free Dream Horse attempts, 100 loyalties every day, and Cronstones.
Let's fucking go.
I actually made my 21st free tier 9 attempt. All free. 21 attempts I've made for free now for tier 9.
Are you cronning them, or are you just using the materials?
I croned them. I mean, they give me enough crons to use for it anyway, so might as well.
All of my T9 attempts have also been free, but
Yeah.
I sell the ones that are sellable. I only use the free ones.
Yeah,
I've
same
made
here.
10 attempts, and I have one Dream Horse.
That's actually really good. I'm on attempt number 7.
I got it in 2018 too, so look my nuts, you know?
When Dream Horses first came out, I made like 6 attempts on the horse, and I was like, I'm going to get this Dream Horse. And then I was like, nah, I'm not going to get this Dream Horse. So then I started doing the free ones after that, and I'm at the 27 now. So.
Yeah, you don't deserve one.
I'll probably get the one I don't care about. The only one I really care about is the unicorn. I don't care about theirs.
I'm sorry. Next time for sure.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, right? It's like a 6.2% chance I'm bound to get it. So
Definitely.
That's it for BDO. Unless there's something else you want to talk about, we can talk about other games now.
How about the tournaments real quick? Was there any upsets besides the Lord God himself dying to some gear carried, possibly pay to win ex Black Rose Rat? Who's also a really nice guy.
Well, I was going to say that was kind of mean. I'm a little salty about it though.
He's not here to defend himself. So no, Daisy's a cool guy. I'm just teasing. But
I didn't realize at the time that I got 50%ed in the first fight, and then this part of the reason I panicked in the second fight is because I thought he had enough damage to blow me up the way he did in the first fight, but I actually lived longer than I should have in the second fight. I don't know. There's a few things I'm a little salty about.
There's no way you had a reasonable chance on that, right? Though
Absolutely. If he did not use his 50%, I would have stood up, been CC capped, and he had 20% health. I had a huge chance of winning that first round. The second round, I definitely played poorly, but again, I was overestimating his damage in the second round. So I don't know. I just think that the whole BSR thing was a little weird.
Was there any other matches that you're interested in or upsets, or did either of you guys follow this?
Yeah, I watched. There was lots of V-bugging. Pretty much all the best PvPers in BDO get there by pressing the V key. I learned that about PvP watching the tournament. And then I think Sphero's opponent didn't even show up, so there was that.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking forward to next week. I was cringing through a lot of the fights that we had this week, to be honest. So much V-bugging, dude.
X Aftershock shot caller that almost got kicked for being a terrible shot caller run is in Snake, and then V-bugged to win his fight. So that was exciting. And then I also recently found out that Shaky Bay, the god of 1v1 PvP, didn't even enter in this. I can't believe that's a thing.
Well, I mean, it basically says it's not worth the tournament, right? It's not a real tournament without Shaky Bay.
The hands didn't enter either.
Are they just above it? Is that what it is, or
they don't have the gear, man? I mean, I don't know what Shaky's gear is, but Hands is walking around in Tuvala gear. Like,
oh yeah,
I still think he had a good shot.
I forgot.
I still think he had a decent shot, honestly, even with his Tuvala gear. I mean, Sphero's basically in Tuvala gear as well.
What is it with Warriors being like hyper ego in zero gear outside of Daisy?
Because they spend all their time fighting and not grinding, dude. These guys have like 10,000 hours of Battle Arena. Of course their gear sucks.
Okay. I'm mad at myself. I thought I was just going to get completely fucking gear checked in the Guardian tournament, and none of the geared Guardians showed up. I actually would have had a fucking chance if I put any practice into it whatsoever. I should have just nutted up and just did it anyway.
Yeah,
I'm pretty mad at myself for not doing it.
You should have joined. Shaky should have joined. Hand should have joined. You all fucked up. All you needed to do is win one round, and you qualify for the upcoming trial tournament that will be held in the future. That will definitely take place and not be forgotten about.
Well, nobody advertised that. If I just had to participate or even win one round, I probably just
that's what they said on the event page. I mean, it was like really long, but if you read it, you got lots of interesting tidbits.
That was way too long to read.
Oh no, that's right.
Really long.
The whole reason I play BDO and I don't know anything about the quest lines is because I don't read anything.
I find that surprising, Potion Shop.
What?
I'm gonna dominate that trial tournament, dude.
What? I don't know much about the quest lines.
Yeah,
I watched some YouTube videos about the storyline.
Get a fucking hobby, dude.
It is my hobby. I'm just not gonna read it. I'll watch it on a YouTube video. It's way faster.
Good job. Right? Oh, by the way, I like the new album.
Oh yeah, my new music album came out.
Yeah, so I told all my SWG streamer friends about your music and how like it's safe and everything, and they can't figure out how to put like a second, third, fourth, or fifth album on, and so I just keep hearing Cube over and over again until my eyes bleed, which I'm sure you can relate to. But I really like the new album, except for one song makes me want to pour milk in my computer.
Which
So
one is this? The last one?
I don't know. I'll send it to you. There's like quacking or honking going on. It's really. It's bad. It's just it's objectively bad. But the other, this is my favorite album overall.
Yeah, this one I put the most work into by far. I was really picky with the people I worked with it because I don't make music myself. I work with producers to have it made, and I go back and forth till we have a finished product. So I kind of with this one I had a little more time, so I just kind of I didn't rush anything. I just made sure everything was working the way I wanted it to, and made sure the people I worked with were really talented. And I think it turned out really well. The one thing that I didn't like about it is the actual songs. I don't think had a lot of variety. I think they're really good songs, but there wasn't much variety. And so the next,
I like that. I actually like that. So you put the whole album on, and it's kind of cohesive, except for that one song where you pour hot sauce on my ears. Everything else is just like cohesive and nice. At least I've listened to it like 6 or 7 times.
I think it's probably the last song. The last song I had someone else make it because he never makes me a song, so I didn't want to push him on anything. So I was like, okay, that's fine, thanks. So it's probably the last song if I had to guess, but I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna pull it up real quick just to see because I'll know like straight away. No, this song's fine.
No, not that one? I don't know then.
Maybe quacking is just the new meta and you're just too old to understand.
Oh, this is it.
Yeah. I figured it was that one. That one bothers me too a little bit, to be honest.
I'm gonna re-listen to the whole thing and I'll pay attention to it and I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's near the end. It's near the end. There's like a weird sound that he adds like halfway through the song.
No, it's the second to last one.
Second to last one?
Yeah, dog shit.
Okay, I'll listen to it later. I'll check it out.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like derail this whole thing.
It's fine. We're already after BDO stuff anyway, you know. So
super good. I'm super proud of you, and I'm really glad that you do that. This is easily my most favorite album, and I'm gonna make a playlist without song number 19, and that's it. But I know it's great financial sacrifice, and you put a lot of work into it, and so you can't please everybody, and you can't do a perfect job. But that is excellent stream music. You know, especially if you're a smaller streamer and you don't know what to play or you're tired of something, make sure you guys pull up Potion Shop's music. It's don't sleep on it for sure, 100%.
I guess to wrap up the tournament, what do we expect to see come out from this tournament? Do we have winners? Do we have losers? Do we think more stuff's going to happen?
Oh, I thought we were done. I'm sorry.
We're only doing, I think we're in the top 8 now. So it's got a little while until we see all the winners. Once they win the tournament, they get to be part of the conversation with the devs about class balance.
No.
So that is the prize.
Take that out. Take that last little part out there. That will help developers. Just because you're good at your class doesn't mean you're a good game developer or good at feedback.
I can't believe I didn't sign up for this. I've done nothing but play. I've streamed 120 hours in the past 2 weeks. 110 hours. I just would have fucking done nothing but 1v1s, man. I can't believe I didn't sign up. I would have given Guardian the same treatment Striker's been getting, dude. It would have been insane. Anyway.
We'll have to see what they do with it. I like that they're doing something that's in like encouraging the community, because if you look on like the Twitch numbers on it are great compared to like other events and stuff. So I think that's actually really positive for as far as a community standpoint goes. I think it's really positive, even if they don't get any changes for classes out of it.
I'm gonna have to hire a translator for the person who wins Guardian. It's just gonna be a bunch of grunting. Chef Q.
Dude, when I look at the feedback that the BDO partners give in the partner channel, I just think like, oh my god, whoever wins this tournament, like the feedback's gonna be so bad. Like if the people who play this game for a living give the type of feedback that I see in that Discord, I can only imagine what like some random spurg who plays BDO for 45 hours a day and is like mastered his class and got 7,000 gear score is going to tell the devs about class balance.
It's gonna be some sweet cat pictures, dude. That's what it's gonna be. Oh man, can we talk about other video games yet?
Yeah,
sure.
let's do it. Elion Online. I think they're doing closed beta soon. That's going to be like the
May 6th.
It's
You get your code?
oh, it's going to be the first ever knockoff Black Desert game. Do you know about all those World of Warcraft knockoff games?
It's knockoff Terra, right? I don't think it's knockoff Black Desert.
Knockoff
It's
Black Desert Online, and it has a little bit of Terra mixed in there too because of the combat feel, I think. But I actually think it's
What
going to
does
be
it have
good.
in common with BDO?
I don't think, like, to say that, I don't think it's a bad thing because there's lots of those like World of Warcraft knockoff games that I enjoyed, like Jade Dynasty. No one knows what that is, but I had great fun in it.
What?
Yeah, there's all sorts of those I tried out. I was like, is this one good? Like Continental Ninth or whatever it's called.
Or what the fuck is Shanghai Dynasty?
There's like all sorts of like cool ones that had like little niches to them. Anyway, I think this, like, my opinion on Elion Online is it's not going to be like a BDO killer, a World of Warcraft killer. It's not going to be the game that you play for years. It's not going to be the next big MMO. But I think it is a good game to play for a couple months. And depending on how enjoy you, maybe a couple weeks to a couple months. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Apparently, the way that you have to stay competitive at the end game is you have to do, I think it's like an hour of questing a day on every single character, and then feed all that to your main character. So we'll see. That sounds a little toxic. Seems a little toxic. But overall, aside from that, like from a casual standpoint, I think it's gonna be a great break if you're looking to take a break from BDO, World of Warcraft, or Path of Exile, or whatever game you play normally. Right? I think it'll be a good game to pick up, and it'll give you the traditional theme park MMO experience. You're gonna level up, questing, do some dungeons or raids. Probably, it would be my guess.
The only thing I know about it from watching Blue's stream is that there's queuable PvP. There's arenas.
Whoa.
Yeah. Outside of that,
next gen content right there.
I'm pretty sure I burnt the Cacao Games bridge as hard as I possibly can. And I feel like I'm walking into an ex-girlfriend's house or something by like trying to play that game. So I'm probably just going to let it
slide on by.
Yeah. I don't think
it does kill BDO.
What?
What if it does kill BDO? What if it comes out of nowhere and it's like the sickest fucking game in years and everybody gets super hooked?
I mean, he'll come and play it with us, I'm sure. I don't think it's going to be that. I'd be very, very surprised.
I'll play just about anything that Moreland plays. I like playing video games with you, if you in your community and stuff like that.
That's nice.
It's true. If the homies are playing it, then I'll slide through. But as long as it's not a 2-week fucking
even Ashes of Creation.
Shut the fuck up.
I mean, if there was a playable version of that game at some point,
if they fire the GM of Hikamori as a game master. Oh my god,
we're still hung up on that.
He's like one of the worst human beings I've ever interacted with. How could I not? He's such a piece of shit. Am I allowed to talk about Star Wars Galaxies yet?
Sure.
Dude, it's so much fun. So I'm a Jedi and people are hunting me and I'm dying all the time. But I'm also killing a couple of people. I have a list. Moreland came in. He saw my list. I have a list, a notepad of people that it's bounty hunters I've killed and cunts I need to shit on. I've got 2 lists. So
that actually unironically sounds like fun.
It really is fun. And so being a Jedi early on is super weak. Like people just come. It was like 50-50. People would like come up just to like get a reaction out of me. And I'd be like, hi, please don't kill me. They'd be like, I don't have your mission, but I will later, kind of thing. But once I got full template, like I finished everything. I did all my grinding. 7 bounty hunters came out of nowhere and 5 other people came to watch. And I just ran around in a circle getting gangbanged, trying to defend myself. It was so much fun. Huh?
Did you get any kills out of it?
Absolutely not. It was some of the best players that have been playing for 7 years. I got absolutely destroyed, and they all danced on my corpse, and it was a good time. But I've been having a great time with the community. The streams have been super fun. I actually can't believe how entertaining and what's the interactive the streams are with this fucking stupid dead game. There's such a great Twitch community, and I've been playing with like the Imperial side the whole time, and I haven't actually announced this publicly, but all the people that have been helping me the entire time has been this one faction. But now that I'm PvP viable, I'm actually going to join the other faction.
You're betraying all your friends.
Oh, yep, 100%. And so it's going to be.
That's gonna be some,
is that going to backfire at all, or is there
no? Everybody. It's actually pretty okay. The rebels are really understaffed. They have no streamers or anything like that. So it's the right choice for content. It's probably the right choice to balance out the two sides. And the other side is like all anarchy and chaos. And so like even if you show up to a bunch of PvP and you do a bunch of things, like everybody can still just hate you and you just eat a bunch of shit. Where on the rebel side, it's a little more structured, like a BDO guild is, where, you know, if you show up, you get rewarded, you know, and they have a shot caller, they have a Discord, they've got all this kind of structure. So, and I feel like the friends that I have through the Imperial side is probably the best that the Imperial side has to offer anyway. And we're still going to be friends, even though I'm on the other side. So it's been incredible. I thought this was going to be like a little fun side project or something, but it's like turned into basically my main game, and I just play BDO when there's a node war, and it's great. Absolutely great.
Yeah, I can't believe the Twitch communities for some of these old player-run servers. It's the same way with Project 99 and like Ultima Outlands. They have huge audiences. Well, not huge, but like way bigger audiences on Twitch than I would expect, and just super good communities. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you have a smaller community. Is, you know, it's a little more tight knit. It's less like people just have less of that feeling of like, you know, none of their interactions matter, and you just get the type of person who actually like wants the game to be successful, since they're more niche populations.
People watch, they hang out, they come up to me, they help me with these tedious missions, they give me information. I know enough about the game to be able to kind of pay that back or forward or however you want to put it. So like if somebody joins the game, I give them credits, direction, and they can DM me anytime that they want. And, you know, that helps too. They're like, oh, okay, well, thanks for all the help. You know, here's a sub and I'm going to watch you and hang out. Perfect. Cool. You know, it feels like what streaming a MMO should be, instead of, wow, this guy's garbage. What is he, 40? Why is he playing this game? Why is streaming dog shit? You know,
the amount of shit I get over that tier list. Every time I hear anything like that, is just I get PTSD of tier list.
Well, it's bad and you need to fix it. So
it's not bad. It's like average.
Where does your tier list sit? If you were to make a tier list of tier lists, which tier would you put your tier list in?
Well, compared to our BDO streamers, it's probably better than all of theirs. But compared to people who actually know how to make tier lists in other games, it's probably like a C tier.
I want to call out
within the BDO community, your tier list is what, like A plus, you think?
Yeah, probably like A right now. I think in presentation,
tier list?
I think in the presentation of what I do, I think I get an S. I think in like rate accuracy right now, I get probably like a B. And then in community approval, I get like a F.
I got to shout out Danny Destroyer. He made a streamer tier list and he rated me a D. And I
been rated higher than D on any of those tier lists.
Have you?
Yeah, I get like a B usually in all of them.
Yeah, that's where you were on this one. Potion, there was F, and then there was something else, and then there was total dog shit, and Potion was at total dog shit, and I was a D.
That sounds
And
about
Ellie
right.
was,
I'm like very comfortably in that bracket where people will watch me if no one else is streaming.
and Shaky Bay was literally right next to me, so it was really toxic. And I was, I don't know if I'd rate myself as a D, so I felt pretty good about it. So shout out to Danny Destroyer, love you, man.
So are you going to make one of those tier lists too, Tim?
I think the hardest part about making a BDO tier list is the what are they called? The avatar streamers, the VTubers. Because I
We
rather
have a lot of those now.
yeah, I rather put them in the garbage, but they all have 4,000 subs now apparently.
Yeah, they're doing it right, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't
So,
understand how these guys how they make money. Like I don't understand why people sub more to them. I don't understand it. It's like a community. It's like a
Because
phenomenon
they're
I don't
anime
understand.
girls.
Because they have fox ears.
Yeah, I'd probably.
Yeah,
sub to
why
that.
would you give money to a person when you could give it to an anime girl? That seems pretty obvious to me.
I mean, I remember a little while ago where it was like, this person has a stream personality, and that's disgusting. It's not relatable. Tim Allen just screams. He doesn't actually mean it. Until he meet me in real life, and I scream all the time. But if you put a fucking picture of a fox with a tail girl, and you talk with the highest, cutest voice possible, you get thousands of subs. I literally want to cut my nuts off on stream. I have no more plays, man. I have no more plays. I'm done. So that's my tier list.
Voice changers are pretty good now.
It's true. I have one. How do I sound, boys?
Great.
Not convincing at all, actually. You don't have like a proper girl voice changer?
I do, but it's software and I don't care.
Man, I miss the old days of MMOs before voice, where you could just pretend to be a girl and get free stuff, like just through
EverQuest
text.
Yeah, you could just ERP.
Yeah, dude.
It works.
You just made a dark elf female and just got free stuff from just walking around.
I remember people in RuneScape doing that. They're like, "I'll be your girlfriend for a day. Thanks for the cash."
Dude, there was a guy who ran a brothel in UO on my server.
Is it the second life? You ever dip a toe in there?
That is a dangerous place.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once you go
it's
there, no, it's not. You can't consider it in the game. I don't think you can even consider it a game.
It's just a lot of porn.
Yeah, you know how Big and Shiny always says "ooh, scary" with an I? That's my reaction when you say Second Life.
Yeah, I walked in there for like 20 minutes and I was like, what the fuck is happening in here? Jesus Christ. It's great YouTube content though. As far as other games, I've actually kind of put down HOTS for a little while. I had COVID, so my best friend is like a germaphobe, so he hasn't even like texted me in 3 weeks of fear of getting COVID. So I haven't even touched HOTS. I've just been playing Star Wars Galaxies. As far as anything, I'll probably touch Elion, but I'm going to be gone all next week. I'm not going to be here for the podcast or anything unless we do it on Saturday for work. So I'm going to be like super, super gone. So I've been like trying to get as much Star Wars Galaxies in as possible. But how's Darkest Dungeons going? Did you finish it?
No, it takes a long time to finish, man. Like the end game in Darkest Dungeon really slows down. There's a lot of stuff that I feel like I need to do off stream because it's just way too repetitive. I have technically 2 more missions, I think, until the game ends.
Is it still?
So I could probably just go do those 2 and beat it, but I was trying to do the side content too. The side content is kind of just like leveled up versions of content you've already seen, though. It's not like new bosses. So I don't know. I might just go and beat it. And I've got like 80 hours or something now. I'm kind of ready to be done with it. Is
it still fun?
Yeah, it's still fun. Like the when I'm doing a mission that I haven't beaten before, it's super fun. It's like really nerve-wracking and stressful. When I'm just grinding like level 3 missions to get new people leveled up and caught up so that I can take them to the actual missions, that part's pretty repetitive.
Yeah, this feels like
Grinding-
needless extra work.
Well, I mean, that's what gives you the punishment of failing, right? Is the fact that you put all these work into your people and then they can permanently die. So there has to be a cost to, if you could just revive them, then it wouldn't feel the same way. So I get why it's there, but there's just a lot of stuff that it's the kind of thing where like I just do it on my second monitor because it's turn-based and I don't necessarily want to do it on stream until we get to the actual good stuff.
Grinding on single player games is not something I enjoy. I don't think I've ever enjoyed it. I don't feel like I ever really get a payoff for it. I have a tough time with that.
I've enjoyed grinding in like ARPGs.
Okay.
Like
yeah, that's
and shit,
still kind of multiplayer, but you know what's coming out? Not next week, but the week after.
SSF, by the way. What's coming out?
Mass Effect, dude.
Wait, what?
Mass Effect.
A
the
new
remaster
one?
of Mass Effect.
I was going to say, it must be an old Mass Effect, otherwise no one would be excited.
True.
True.
I mean, the last thing that they did, it's BioWare makes that, right?
The original one, like the first Mass Effect is coming out?
Yeah. So they're hopefully doing something with UI, but probably not. They are remastering the graphics, but they're still using the same engine. They're fixing some of the missions that were broken, like the rover missions in Mass Effect 1 for those who've played it. And some of the interactions. They're buffing up the graphics on Mass Effect 2 a little bit, but Mass Effect 2 is probably one of the best RPGs of all time. And then Mass Effect 3 is going to see very little improvement, basically just graphical.
Wait, is this the update that includes the nerfs to the ass shots?
Yes.
Oh.
That's mostly Mass Effect 3. There was gratuitous butt shots for no reason. It almost looked like graphical glitches, but it was just like, here's Miranda's ass. And you're like, I think I'm going to fuck that chick. That's all it really was. So you can still tell Miranda's the hottest girl in the game without...
Even without the close-up on her ass.
Yeah, they're not shy about it.
That's good.
So shout out to anybody who's going to play Mass Effect. I'm going to stream every hot fucking second of it. I'm going to do every side quest. This is my favorite single player game of all time. I don't think I've actually ever streamed a single player game on my channel before in 3 years. I just hit 3 years of streaming, by the way. In 3 years of streaming. So this is going to be my first stab at it. I don't give a shit.
What makes Mass Effect 2 so good? Because people in my chat are saying it's like the best game ever as well. Is it what about it makes... There's a lot of really good RPGs out there. Is this what makes it the best RPG?
It's hard to explain without really spoiling it, but basically it's like really spoiling the whole line of the games. But it's basically you assemble your crew, and the more time you spend diving into their storyline and really caring about those characters, the better the rest of your game experience is going to be. And that's as vague as I can be without spoiling everything about the game.
Do I have to play the first one, play the second one?
No, you don't have to play any of the games to play the second one. So what I did is I started Mass Effect 1 when 3 came out. And I kind of sped run 1 because it wasn't very good. But I just got the story from it, which was really rewarding. 15 hours, maybe tops. And then Mass Effect 2, I started realizing like a third or a quarter of the way through that this was fucking insane good. And I got super into the universe and the character development, all that kind of stuff. And I spent 35 to 50 hours on that. And then I spent 20 to 40 hours on Mass Effect 3.
So basically like speed run 1, so you get this basic story, then play 2 thoroughly.
What I'm hoping is that they have fixed enough things, and the rover missions being fixed is probably enough, that they fixed enough in 1. Inventory management and UI were really bad too. Hopefully they touch that, where you can really kind of take your time with 1, because there is some good stuff in there. And then all the expansions, I didn't play with any of the expansions. There's a lot of like canon and story that were brought in after the fact. So it's just going to be the entire trilogy packed into 1 with good, consistent graphics. They fixed a couple things, and hopefully something with inventory management on the first game. So if you just want like a easy breeze through and like just to get through the story and stuff. Just like buy sniper rifle and hit things in the head. But there's a couple
So
different.
they're doing all
stuff.
3 games are being rolled into one.
Mm-hmm. Because when you play Mass Effect 2, you either upload Mass Effect 1 game file or you just like click a couple things to like give you an idea of a story. They're like, so if you were in a situation where your own race was in danger, but they were trying to have a relationship with other races and the universe stability was predicated upon this, and you had to save a delegation of just your race or a delegation of all the races, what would you do? And so it basically just like grinds down the first game into a couple of major decisions. And then the text of Mass Effect 2 is a little more like, well, remember when I saved you, you know, kind of thing, where that doesn't happen if you load a Mass Effect 1 save file. But you also don't get the points for conversation for being good or bad. That'll unlock some special stuff. So you really need to decide if you're going to be good or bad when you do that playthrough, and you need to hardcore stick to it. But it also makes the replayability way better, because if you do that and then you replay it again as bad or good, whatever you did the first time, you're going to unlock way more conversations than you did before. And it's actually really rewarding. It's one of the very few RPGs I played that have any sort of replayability because of it.
Oh, because based on who you choose for your crew and based on being good or bad, you get this like so much variety there.
Oh, and the ending. Some of the ending decisions that I didn't get to do because I didn't have, it was my first playthrough. And it was just conversation. It didn't really determine how the ending was, because the ending in Mass Effect 3 is like globally known as terrible and not having like enough options. And they're like, well, the things that you did in the game doesn't really matter. Like if you meta game Mass Effect 3's ending, it is bad. But if you don't look at what the options are and you just take it in for what it is, awesome game. But all the conversations before the game actually ends, if you play it through a second time, I really want to know what those interactions are. But I've never looked it up on YouTube or anything. I just wanted to. I've been waiting 6 years or something to play through it again. And
when's that come out?
May 12th, I think it is, something like that.
Okay.
I'll have to. It's not next week, but the week after for sure. So I'm going to no life the fuck out of that. I'm going to stream every second of it, and I don't care if I have 0 viewers, man. I'm just doing it. It's the thing I've always wanted to do on my channel.
Are you planning on playing TBC pre-patch?
When is it?
Probably second half of May.
Possible.
There's a ton of shit that's all kind of happening at once. It's like Alien Beta and then Subnautica and then TBC pre-patch all within like a week or two of each other.
If I can be in the 10-man squad and tank, I'm in. Otherwise, I'm not going to waste my time. If you got like 12 people or something, but if we get 10 homies and I can tank, I'm in.
I don't think we'll know how many people we have until like the day before the expansion. Like people are going to flake and shit. So
I'm okay with that. I won't flake if we've got a squad, but if we've got like 4 people that are actually going to do it, I'm not going to waste my time. There's no fun there to be had unless we're 10-man rating.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, there's so many things, like so many games coming up.
Yeah, you going to play any of them, or are you just going to make it to your list?
I'll be playing BDO. I bet
upcoming game tier list.
I think what they, I think they'll actually, they have to be releasing something big in BDO pretty soon, because with Elyon coming out and World of Warcraft, like they've always dropped a relatively big update whenever competition drops something. So I'm kind of wondering if they're going to drop like the dungeon on us and this like surprise, motherfucker. You know, here you go.
It's gotta be. Oh my god, please! Are they ever gonna do Thornwood Castle? Like, there's got to be some new actual content that they have planned for all this shit.
I think the dungeon is the easiest one. Like, you release a dungeon, it has 5 times the number of mechanics. The mobs rotate, the loot rotates. Like, it'd be kind of interesting. Like, week 1 it's Crescents, week 2 it's History, week 3 it's Bassies, and you make good money while doing the entire thing. So it's not new items, but you get new monsters to grind the same loot. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Dude, an infinite scaling dungeon literally fixes BDO. Like, Just add greater rifts to this game, basically, and people
Greater rifts
will.
from Diablo
thrive.
3 with leaderboards per class.
Yeah, dude. And like occasional resets with like seasonal rewards and titles and stuff. Like, come on, dude, just do it.
I could see that. I could see that working. I could see that working. I'm a little concerned with the loot. But aside from that, I think that could work.
If you make a BDO streamer tier list, Moreland, I'll make one.
I will absolutely not do that.
Tim, where would you place me on your streamer tier list? Would I be an F or at least a D?
I have a tough time watching your stream.
Yeah?
You get baited into some ridiculous. You get so angry over some weird shit, dude.
I hate people being stupid. I can't stand stupid people.
Well, they feel the same way. So that's where the.
I think you're the first channel Heathen's ever gotten banned from. There were a lot of channels that he was not welcome in. I just don't like how Post ignores me when I'm in his chat. I say something to him and he never acknowledges me, and I just want to be acknowledged.
I'm going to look at last time you typed a message in my chat.
Bro, I was so happy when you came
the last
Galaxies, Moreland. I was happy about that. That made me happy.
I don't know how to
look. Your whole thing about having a notepad where you were tracking your kills, that made me want to just download Meridian 59. Like, that was so nostalgic for me.
It's so funny because I'm the only person that does it. I'm not toxic enough to put it in my player profile yet. But once I get a couple more kills under my belt and I really figure out my build, it's going straight in the profile. It was so funny that you said that.
That's what we did in Meridian 59, because killing people was like such a big deal in that game. It was so punishing and the world was so small, and like you were always getting in fights, but you weren't actually getting kills because people would always escape. And so when you finally got a kill on somebody, it was such a fucking huge deal, and they dropped all their loot, and like, yeah, you would literally put that shit in your bio and like keep track of it throughout your career.
There's some pretty big egos. It's not as toxic as BDO, but there's still like big egos in Star Wars Galaxies.
Dude, that's the best, when people have an ego about a game that's 20 years old.
Yeah, but they're not toxic about it. Like if you shit on, there's this guy called Tampon, and if you kill Tampon, you're fucking gaming. But he's not really going to be a total piece of shit. Like he'll say good fight to you if you beat him, and like if you boast about beating him, he'll be cool about it. 9 times out of 10, I'd say. Right? You imagine?
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
The way things used to be. Maybe that's what Mortal Online will be like. Smile.
Fat chance. I doubt that I'll see that.
Yeah. Lucky.
How's League of Legends going, Potion?
I have been dedicating myself to the effort of catching up on everything. I'm honestly like, with music and stream and podcast catch up, I have literally had no time to do anything. It's literally all my time. If I might have time for like a game of League, and then that's it. It's just not like this. Like this entire week, I was working on trying to get podcasts uploaded, and then my video kept bugging out on me. I had to record. I was telling Moro this earlier. I had to record your version, but you had an audio bug at the beginning, so then I had to record Moro's version, and then the file size was too large, which I didn't realize at the start. So I'd try to compress the video file while I was sleeping, like render it or whatever, and it would be too large, and it would always get stuck at like an hour and 38 minutes, and I didn't know why. And it happened like 3 nights in a row, which I just had the bitrate turned up too high, so it was just like something internal with the program was breaking when it was rendering. So like my entire week this week has just been like music and stream and podcast, and it's literally been all I've been doing. I've had zero free time.
What's your favorite champion on League though?
I like playing top lane right now, and playing Set is probably my favorite champion. I like Jace a lot too, but Jace is like, I don't really feel like he fits in top lane very well right now.
What's the turbo meta? I saw that there's a turbo meta. What does that mean?
Turbo tank. It's like an item you can buy that gives you 60% movement speed.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Scion with 60% move speed.
So yeah,
Go
you can basically like a lot of people who are tanks just build that and then run into a fight and initiate a fight. So they're nerfing that from like I think 60% to 40% or something like that.
So it's a tank support meta with turbo.
Yeah, it's like tank. It's just tank meta with the tank jungle, tank top, or tank bot. With or tank support. I mean,
like Leona shield and hit him with the Q. I like that. Ooh, I might download it. That's toxic.
Yeah, I think this might be the last week of it before the patch goes live. I kind of forget when the patch goes live. I haven't been keeping up with it.
Well, that's cool. I appreciate the music. That's good work. You're doing the Lord's work there. I'm
out of cash now. I'm broke, so we have to stream many hours to make more monies so we can make more music. So it's about to come to a screeching halt.
Yeah, Moreland's gonna cringe because I'm bringing up Silent Planet, but the metal band that I like and in a close.
Don't you like know the lead singer in that band?
Yeah,
or something.
I played Among Us with all of them and Bubba Wallace. He posted his paycheck from Spotify on his Twitter, and it was $25 because he's got like a label deal and stuff. And I thought of you because I know that you've made like more money on your checks than what this like highly successful, well-known metalcore band has done.
I've made like $150 so far. I didn't think that was much, but
is that YouTube? Is that Spotify money or is that YouTube money?
Spotify money. I made about 150, but I mean, I've invested like, I don't know, like maybe $6,000, $5,000. I don't know. It's a lot of money to invest, and then I have to know about music and be able to know what I'm looking for and like be able to get feedback, because the first song they give you if you're working with a publisher will always be like a lazy version of it, because they want to do the least amount of effort and get away with as much as possible so they can move on to the next project and make more money. So
why'd you bring some nobody in for your last song?
Say that again?
Why'd you bring some nobody in for your last song?
I worked with them in the past and I enjoyed working with them, so I'd like to work with them more in the future, so I was trying to be nice with them.
I got you. Okay.
Because I do think he makes really good quality music, but you have to like catch the things you don't like. So,
like quacking.
Like quacking, yes. Now everybody's gonna have to listen to the album to know what we've been talking about. My YouTube last year made $1,000. That's what I made on YouTube last year, and my Spotify made no money last year, but this year it's made 150 so far. So that's basically what my numbers are. And in Twitch, I don't know what my Twitch numbers are. Maybe 10,000 or something. Not very much, but it was last year.
Yeah, well, you're just coming back to streaming, so you're trying to boost up your sub count a little bit, right?
Yep. I'm at 68 subs. Something very low.
Just a penny's worth of advice. Come up with some fun low sub goals. And Twitch has been pretty nice to me lately. I'd love to spread some love. So if you come up with something fun for like 100 subs or something, I'm sure me and the boys can help get you there a little bit or something. You know what I mean? So
well, Junior's getting unbanned at 300. And at 200, we said we were going to do something else, but I forgot what we said we were going to do on last podcast.
Streamer tier list. There was a streamer tier list.
Oh, well, that's so 200 will be a streamer tier list, and I level a Guardian or a, what's it? Right now we're doing like we're doing Guardian votes versus, what's their class? I forgot.
It's like Mystic something.
Oh yeah, Mystic and Guardian. So whichever one gets more votes, will be the class level 62 next, and we'll actually be able to play test it and accurately put it on a tier list.
That's good.
But in the meantime,
more
we're getting
on your this week. What's your next sub goal?
A sub goal? I don't even know how many I have. Twitch's dashboard.
You should make a
is
sub goal.
Confusing. What should my sub goal be?
Well, you're not going to make a tier list, right? Even for subs.
Nope. Not of streamers.
You could do a 24-hour.
It's too mean. I don't like being actually mean. I like being fake video game mean. I don't like being mean to like humans in real life.
I think you could make a streamer tier list that was funny and not mean. That's why I want you to do one, because I think you would have like the most wholesome streamer tier list ever.
It wouldn't though. Here's the thing. It wouldn't be wholesome because there are a couple people in this community that I genuinely dislike, but I just avoid them. I don't go out of my way to talk about why I dislike them, and I don't know. It just seems like a waste of energy.
Dude, it'll be fine. Just leave them out.
That's the one thing I don't know what to do with either.
Then everyone's gonna know why I left them out.
Well, now they do. Yeah, that's true.
Well, you could like strategically leave out people that you obviously like or collaborate with often.
You can leave me off because putting me in F tier, you don't have to hurt my feelings then.
I'm gonna start when I make my list. I'm gonna start at the bottom with you and then move up from there.
There's people that I would put way below Potion on the tier list.
All right, I need to be heading off to get some sleep soon.
On your channel? Let's close this out. What's going on your channel this week, Marlon?
I'm turning 50 on May 5th. I've been 49 for a few years now. I think it's finally time to turn 50. So my birthday is in a week. The following day is the Alien beta, so we'll be playing that quite a bit. Other than that, I don't know, man. I think I'm just gonna be sitting here complaining about Sage the whole time, waiting for next week's patch, and just like going back and forth on whether or not I'm gonna tag him. I might bring him to Node War tonight. So yeah, I don't know. Probably just a bunch of potato, like underwhelming Sage PvP. I think I'm getting decent at it though.
I think I'm gonna bring my Guardian. I really want to bring Suckwiz, but I think I after playing it a little bit, maybe when I'm not doing a podcast, I might be able to focus a little bit better on the Suckwiz play. But I think I just might go to Old Faithful on Friday night. I'm with you on that one. Potion, anything else you want to plug real quick?
Merlin TV has a YouTube channel, and Tim Allen has a YouTube channel, and you should check both those out. And I think that's about it for what I want to plug this week.
I really should make a new YouTube video.
I made one about our enemies in Tier 1. Did you see it?
I did not.
It was bad.
The only YouTube videos I watch are Asmongold Gold highlights.
That's weird.
He does have really good content, though, oddly enough.
So for me, I'm gonna pretty much just be MIA this week, but I'm gonna try to play as much Star Wars Galaxies tomorrow as I possibly can, and it's gonna be all BDO tonight. I don't know if I'm gonna go to the T1 podcast. Was Impact mad at me from the T1 podcast last week, Marlon? Did you see in chat?
I don't know what that podcast is or why anyone goes to it or anything about it.
Okay. So the rest of the week for me is going to be tonight, tomorrow. So come through, hang out. Today is going to be BDO. Tomorrow's going to be Star Wars Galaxies. I want to thank everybody that's been hanging out with me for a while. Don't look at my YouTube channel. I don't really upload anymore, but thank you, Potion Shop. I appreciate that. I could probably be bullied into making a streamer tier list because I am mean and I do not like a lot of people, but I also really like the people that I really like. So give me money and I might do that. But on behalf of Moreland TV, Potion Shop TV, I am Tim Allen 1337. I hope you guys have an excellent weekend. Thank you for tuning in for this wonderful podcast. I hope you found it as entertaining as it was to put on. Have a great week. Be safe, and we'll see you live on Moreland and Tim Allen's channel. That's 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and you can catch us not live on Potion Shop TV's YouTube and on Spotify. Just look up Nerds and Words. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Have a good week. See you next time.